Go. Featherstorm.
Ah! Okay, it says we're live.
Refreshing the page.
I don't believe you.
Roll to disbelieve.
Can I roll to disbelieve my entire existence?
You can try.
Yes, but then you vanish in a puff of logic.
Good.
You also have to roll hypergeometry for that.
Sorry, audience, if I laughed really loud. Loth posted a Kermit gif that I thought was perfectly normal, and then it turns into Kermit with the AK.
God damn it! I thought I was funny for once.
No, it's not. What you said wasn't that funny.
You can be funny too.
Yeah, I hope
Max,
so.
just not
It's
all
not.
the time.
It's not
I
Kermit
tried.
with a gat funny. Anyway, hi,
Yeah.
audience. If you exist and are there, hopefully you are, because you voted for this. You chose this.
Yeah, you better exist for this. God damn.
But today
You really
is
wanted
a.
us to talk about. Oh, sorry.
Well, you're going to get into it too. So today is one of our patron poll days. I do this every month and seem to get a decent number of votes on it. And by quite a wide margin, I mean, not like overall, it was only like 7 votes, but everybody else got like 2 votes. Or no, none. So some of you really wanted to see Harpies. So it's going to be Harpies today. And before we even get into it, I feel like for some of you who maybe are new to Yu-Gi-Oh!, the Zoomers out there, we should probably talk a little about where this archetype comes from and how we got here. So, Harpie is one of those earliest archetype cards, arguably even before, like, Blue Eyes and Dark Magician were considered archetypes with archetypal strategies. Harpie cards were getting additional name supports, counts as kind of a thing. And
Yeah.
at the very least, it is one of the archetypes that in Duel Monsters was treated as a singular coherent strategy with lots of specific interaction cards. Very similar to the way that cards interact with cards like Dark Magician, Blue Eyes White Dragon, lots of other duelist stuff. Harpies were one of the favored decks of My Valentine, a very popular character from the anime for reasons. And so
Yeah, tits.
they have... There's 2 of the reasons, yeah. Harpies have persisted, though, throughout Yu-Gi-Oh's years. They're very often you will see Harpie cards in the background of certain seasons. Alexis and the other 2 rando girls from Obelisk cosplayed as Harpie ladies in an episode of GX. Shit like that. They're a very enduring archetype that keep coming back, which is really interesting because they're one of those archetypes that start with a freaking vanilla monster that doesn't do anything. Very reliant on the spell card interaction back in the day. And some traps and stuff. Which continues to today. Harpie has never been a really good archetype overall. I'm going to check top decks to see if there's been ever any Harpie clears. I know that Harpies were good in Duel Links. So they're one of those ones that became rogue. And they were actually went places. Okay, yeah, no. So Harpies, during the Xyz era Harpies, they were actually, they did stuff. During the Hat era. The H in Hat doesn't stand for Harpie, by the way, but, yeah, no, there were, admittedly, they were propped up a little by Tempest, the secret Harpie card. We'll talk about that a little later with some guys. But no, there were people making top cuts in the late Xyz era with Harpies. Unfortunately, not since then, though somebody did make it to top 64 of Nationals in France with Harpies. So you know, second day, not a real top cut because there's still a whole bunch of other people in there between you, but, you know, an enduring level. They consistently get legacy support to this day, even. And we kind of go back and forth. I think the reason why they've never stayed consistently meta is probably because, like a lot of the DM nostalgia decks, Konami can't really seem to figure out what their actual axis is. Harpies have always been propped up by very powerful spell and trap cards. Harpie Feather Duster is not just a name. That counts as an archetype card, and Harpies can play cards that search it when Feather Duster is legal. Similarly, they also have some very, very powerful spell traps. We probably won't show a lot of the card arts for those, but we can discuss things like Hunting Ground, Featherstorm, Feather Rest. So they've got a lot of stuff going on there. At certain points, they have been a very powerful swarm deck for Xyz plays with both a rank 4 and a rank 7 Axis. They have a Link monster to support this spam strategy that got added later. They also got a Synchro for literally no reason. Then again, I think some Harpies were in the background of some 5Ds episodes. So they're really, really weird. But also, they don't have a lot of extra deck. I said they have a rank 7 line. Harpies themselves have no rank 7 monsters. So they exist in this weird place. Admittedly, they're not as bad off as, like, some other plays. I still don't... like, Dark Magician players have only figured out what the heck should go in their extra deck in, like, the past couple of years. Red Eyes is mostly a fusion archetype with a really bad fusion spell, and also we do rank 7s sometimes. Blue Eyes is probably the most consistent, but they are also completely shotgunned because Blue Eyes have been a Synchro archetype within archetype Synchro monsters and tuners. They have always been a strong fusion archetype that's only gotten better since they printed Ultimate Fusion and that stupid Tyrant Dragon. The Jet is the card that annoys me the most. It's so dumb. I can't believe they printed that joke card and they made it really good.
Yeah.
But also, because of the movie, Blue Eyes has a very strong ritual line that is well known for completely kicking your ass out of nowhere if you're not expecting it. He's not playing Chaos Max, guys. Like, even Gaia has this weird reputation where most of the Gaia Cursed Dragon cards are fusion-based, but they also make sure to print a new Gaia in every extra deck type.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of...
It's just the staple normal nowadays.
Yeah, basically. He just becomes the somehow vanilla, though the Xyz version of Gaia is not vanilla, and he fucking rules. Thunder Charger is a great card. But anyway, so that's kind of the place where Harpie is at. They have been relevant off and on meta. They're in speed duels, but I don't know if they're very good, though you do have 2 skill cards to play them. I don't know what Harpie cards are all in. If Hunting Ground and Queen are in, that should be enough in speed duels. But, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on there. And also, somebody brought this up in chat, and so I will be talking about it. I will probably, for the most ease of use, be showing the original Japanese uncensored card art, because it's usually easier to grab and cleaner over the years. Harpies have a long history of censorship in the TCG. And part of that, I think, is actually deserved. Some of the censorship is very clumsy. There's a lot of body stockings and hastily redrawn smaller boobs. But Harpie ladies have also always very explicitly had kind of a BDSM sub-theme. Now, if you've watched the original Duel Monsters or read the original Yu-Gi-Oh manga, this should shock nobody. There's a lot of leather belts and chokers in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's
a weird, edgy 90s.
Yeah, it's a late 90s into early 2000s. It's very goth, honestly, the original Yu-Gi-Oh! But the card that is called Cyber Shield in the TCG is called Cyber Bondage in Japanese. It is not subtle. So I can understand how what is acceptable for, like, 12 and olders to buy in a, monthly manga magazine has always been different in Japan. It fucking shocks me that JoJo's Bizarre Adventure was in Shonen Jump until, like, part 7. That's really freaky if you think about it. That means 4, 5, and 6 were all, like, out there for anybody.
And then when you look back, and it's like, oh, right, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure taking started with a man impaled on, like, a broken carriage.
Yeah. I mean, that was the 80s, so it was a different time. 80s manga hits different. But, yeah. It's a thing. So I can understand why you'd want to change some of those sensibilities around. But it is very funny that they are very often oft-censored. So let's begin with our tale. This is the original card artwork, the Kazuki Takahashi special, for Harpie Lady. Their names are just Harpie Lady. I don't know why they decided to spell it P-I-E. Usually the Y is more common. It is a localization choice. that has helped them because it is a very distinct spelling that makes it archetypable. Oh, and by the way, chat, don't think we're going to dodge Sky Scout. I'll talk about that one later. I'm very glad that you did not say that joke out loud, Loth.
Yeah. How would you even say that out loud? Stupid.
Yeah, we're just not going to get into it. Loth's out here making off-color jokes. But it is just Harpie Lady in Japanese, so it works out. The original Harpie Lady is a vanilla. It is a normal monster like so many other archetype monsters. I get the impression that Kazuki Takahashi and early Konami's idea of Yu-Gi-Oh! Was monsters are just guys and spells do all the work, and that probably explains the dual monster sets. All the power cards are fucking busted-ass spell cards and traps. Monsters suck.
It feels like it's I guess, considering like the only like checkpoint he had like as a framework was magic.
Yeah, it's probably kind of like aiming into both how Yu-Gi-Oh! Is alike and disalike from Magic.
Also, how most things had abilities granted them via their name interacting with certain field types.
Yeah, there were some interesting things in the way the rules played out and the way spells worked. Anyway, Harpie Lady, the original one, is a winged beast monster. So you can see that in this card art. It is a Harpie Lady. There's not really a lot to say about this original art. Yeah, it's a lady. She is a harpy.
I forgot. Is this the uncensored?
This is the uncensored, yeah.
Yeah, because the very just brief lines where it would be a bodysuit.
Yeah, the censored artwork in America has a bodysuit over it and tries to like compress down her cleavage a little bit. It doesn't work as well as they think it does, but, you know, when this card art had to be censored, it was, you know, a bajillion years ago. By the way, I do also have another funny point of comparison for this art. Not the censored version, but, hey, guess what? Like a lot of retro cards, Harpie Lady is in Rush Duels as well. So you can see the literal 20 years of difference here.
Yeah. Boy, we've come a long way.
Yeah, the original Harpie Lady art is literally the shot, I think, that Kazuki Takahashi used in the manga. Transferred, and probably somebody had to fucking trace it to put it in the printer and card art it. Whereas the Rush Duel art is, hey, we have digital art now, so we can redraw this. You can, like, see her ears. You can actually see a little bit of her facial expression here. The hair actually has, like, shading and different strands, and it's not just a fucking...
It's a feather effect. Also, like, her I guess, talon go off.
The hair doesn't look like it's just a singular flame that hasn't been filled in properly.
Yeah.
I was thinking it's like her talons and her claws actually look like they're semi-person-like.
Yeah, they're drawn a little better and a little closer. They also cleaned up the lines, like, her... I don't know what it is. I guess they're like assless chaps. I don't know what the fuck her leg piece is. This outfit is ridiculous, by the way. Like
stockings of like weird.
This chick flies, so she doesn't need to care about walking in those pants. But like she's wearing leggings and a leotard with a big, you know, poofy skirt. There's no boob support in this at all. But then she's got, like I said, like the like lower leg stockings on, but it looks a lot better in the new art that they've redrawn because it's got like cloth shading and shit. Axe pointed this out. She's got like these little feathers in the effect as well, adding some extra spice, little sparkles. You know, it's a thing. It's interesting to see how art can you know evolve. In our system here. But this is the original baseline Harpie Lady #1. Literally Harpie Lady #1, though we will look at that card art because she's in a different position. But this is the original Harpie Lady. If you have anything to say to her, say it now.
Nah. I've got nothing.
Yeah, so like I said, Harpie Lady's a vanilla. She's a normal monster. It's not a real big deal. She's a level 4 with 1,300 attack and 1,400 defense, so kind of, even when she was, at the time she was physically printed in the card game, a fairly mid stat line for 4. There were already shit like Skull Red Bird and other 4s that were out by the time this card came out.
Yeah.
because she was printed in Metal Raiders, the second set ever in the TCG anyway. So there were already some better choices, though obviously there are mechanics that kind of work with that. But yeah, definitely.
Was Neo out in Metal Raiders, or was that
Neo the Mystic Swordsman was in Structure Deck Yugi, so that would have been out already, yes.
Yeah.
Along with, like, the Structure Deck Kaiba had Battle Ox, so, like, there were 15s, 16s, and 17s. I don't... actually, Legion was in Structure Deck Kaiba, too, so...
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Legion beats existed. Obviously, if you're playing Harpie Lady, you're playing her for synergy, but there is a reason why the vanilla Harpie Lady is almost never played. There are several reasons, actually, but we'll get into that, because there's a lot of... This was a very early attempt at Konami to turn to actually create what we think of as an archetype, so there were some growing pains here.
Yeah.
So I will next talk about actually another vanilla card. Not one that was particularly well used or ever seen, but does exist and is good to get out of the way, I think, as well. I don't really know why this card exists. It wasn't in the anime. It was shown a couple of times in like some side animes. Wow, she also... Okay, well, I'll get to do the comparison with Rush Rule again. But they have another explicit archetype vanilla. Harpie Girl.
Yeah, I feel like this one should have maybe been an effect monster or something, but I get that they weren't doing that yet.
Now, interestingly enough, if I'm understanding this correctly, yeah, it seems like even in, because this card was also in Rush Duel, it's in the Rush Duel game. It seems like even in Japan, unless the Yugipedia is just absolutely taking the piss, it seems like they did go for the censored style design in the Rush Duel card game. Now, I know Rush Duel, the game was localized, so that might just be that they've labeled it as the Japanese art and not pulled it correctly. But you can look at the two redraws. Honestly, I think the body stocking works a little better because the way Harpie Girl is kind of holding her arms, it makes her look like a little shy. And you are not shy if you're wearing that sling bikini she's wearing.
In addition to the sling bikini, just the one stocking that goes all the way up, while the other one just...
Oh, yeah, she's got... I don't know if this was intentional, but in addition to the cracks about the BDSM stuff, Harpies to me have always felt like very deliberately 80s. Funnily enough, like with the big poofy hair and some of their design choices with like the stockings and arm guards and shit.
I think before they revamped them, I think so.
Yeah, we'll take a closer look at some of the fashion
there's at least
choices.
like 3 different waves of them.
Yeah, it's very true.
The Harpie ladies, in a way, looked at like they won't be out of place being groupies for the the other band from Gem and the Holograms. The Misfits?
Yeah. Wow, that's an interesting cut. I like it. You can also see that background technology has come a long way by the time we get to Rush Duels again. There's like fucking Photoshop filters and shit in this one.
Rush is perhaps just a better game because it's actually
Sparkle.
iterated.
Wait, hold on. They removed the shiny part from the Talon.
Yeah, they made her... well, there's a little bit of a sparkle right on there, but they did
it.
some different stuff. It's not as obvious with the backdrop.
It's
You're looking at if I remember right, 2-star vanilla.
Yes. So I think there is something to be said for like reasons to run cards whose names always count as Harpie Lady. Let's put it like that. You don't ever fucking run Harpie Girl. She is not a good card.
I had one thing. I don't know if it's. You have to tell me if this is creepy, but like Ushi, I feel like she's actually more appealing with the bodysuit on under like the weird lingerie. I
mean, I don't think that's creepy. That's just a personal taste. There are people who are really into bodycon, as in like body conscious, body shaped stuff. I don't know. It is certainly a different vibe.
Yes. And as Omega said earlier, the body suit isn't that off-putting this time because she looks a bit more meek.
Yeah. And so to read her flavor text really quick.
Yeah,
actually, wait, did I read regular Harpie Lady's flavor text? I don't think I did. Hold on, let me go grab regular Harpie Lady. I don't think I said that part. Harpie Lady's flavor text, because she's a normal monster, is This human-shaped animal with wings is beautiful to watch, but deadly in battle. Yes, that is correct.
Legitimately just an animal.
Okay.
Well, she's a winged beast. So Harpie Girl's text is, a Harpie chick who aspires to flit about beautifully and gorgeously, but attack sharply. So she's meant to be like, you know, baby mode Harpie. She's not quite up to the full Harpie lady powers. She will not be doing any of that because at no point have they done anything with future support to make running Harpie Girl worth it. She is a level 2 winged beast with 500,
They never
500.
made a retrain of her, I guess.
I think you could
Wait,
argue.
no, they don't. They did actually.
You could argue.
They
Go ahead,
made-
Lost.
she's a combo retrain.
You combine Harpie Chick with Time Wizard, you get Harpie Queen.
Well, when we get to the end of this, I'm actually going to discuss some, like, I have thoughts and feelings about places they could go with Harpies as an archetype. There's a lot of untapped nostalgia potential, but I want to let us get through the actual stuff first.
Yeah.
I like it when you actually want to like talk about theory. That's fun.
Well, as I said, this episode is a little interesting that way because a lot of these monsters, there are a decent number of vanillas in here. There's a lot of weird early archetype effect monsters. There's not necessarily a lot to talk about with some of these.
Yeah.
So we're going to get through this, and I think Harpies are, like I said, at a really interesting place in terms of like how they've designed the game. But Harpie Girl is like basically literally never used. I other than if there was some kind of weird sprite line you could do because she's a level 2, there's like absolutely no reason to include this card.
I feel like you probably just run the good Flunder card.
Yeah, I'm sure that there are. That's the other thing. A lot of later Harpie support. Well, actually, not even later. Several Harpie support cards were included in the Wind-themed structure deck. That's where some of the original Simord cards came out, but that also had some new Harpie cards and some Harpie reprints. So Harpies have always been kind of generically associated with winged beasts. So they've got a lot of cards that work like that. Also, by the way, Konami has not yet chosen to revamp that structure deck, though they did revamp decks that came before and after it. So Konami, where's Wind Deck V2?
Wind Deck R.
Yeah, there's some real opportunity there for some shit.
Yeah, I mean, let's be
Especially
honest.
'cause
That would be almost meta with how.
Yeah, if you could figure out a way to make it like relevant without, you could also possibly do alternate prints of some Simord cards that are now banned.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
please.
And since didn't they actually ban Barrier Statue now?
Yeah, Barrier Statue has also been banned, so like the shittiest parts of the Wing Beast lockdown decks is taken out. I wonder if that means they can unban the Simorg Link? Because primarily the Simorg Link's thing was that he got you to Barrier Statue really easily.
There's probably other dumb shit it gets you to, but
yeah, it might still be a problem in Flunder.
Archetype expansion, give us Dark Samorg related nonsense.
That
I'd
could
rather
also be done.
not, because we have a resident Dark Samorg apologist here. I don't know about that.
Well, Dark Samorg's not that good, but it's.
We have a DSA.
Funny. Wow, you guys are just all over the place tonight. Anyway, yeah, Harpie Girl not really relevant. So now we're also going to talk about another card because it's very funny. So, let me grab the gallery for this. So there were times when, back in the day, when Upper Deck was handling the localization and translation of Yu-Gi-Oh!, they would get cute with some of the naming conventions. You may recognize this from some archetype cards that had eventually changed. Frog the Jam, etc., etc.
Oh, that's the Kagamusha thing. Okay, I gotcha.
Shit like that. One of these cards included the card that is now called Sky Scout. He was originally called, in English anyway, Harpie's brother. Now, in Japanese, while I do think that his name fits the Harpie Lady naming theme because it is just Badoman. It's Harvey Birdman, attorney at law, everybody. He is not explicitly called a Harpie monster, so he doesn't count when they actually started adding Harpie support. That said, you would absolutely play this motherfucker in Harpie decks back in the day because this is a Wing Beast with level 4 with 1800.
Yes, he is actually not.
This is just a vanilla Wind Beater. And thematically, you could go, oh well, he's a Wing Beast and he's called Harpie's brother. So yeah, his name is now Sky Scout. I know some people who are like, he'll never not be Harpie's brother to me, and I got to admit, I can understand the confusion. It feels like he's got some Harpie fashion sense. He's got a ludicrous arm blade thing, which, by the way, is a currently unprinted Harpie exclusive equip card. I think it's called Arrow Nail. It gives a Harpie Lady 300 attack and defense, and if it's destroyed, you can, from your graveyard, target it to a Harpie Lady in your field and re-equip it. That would actually, by the way, be a decent card, Konami, because all Harpie monsters count as Harpie Lady on the field. You could do some funny things with that, even if it's only 300, 300.
Maybe give it a bit different effect and maybe adjust the stats. Yeah.
Honestly, no. Because of Hunting Ground, lots of Harpie cards pop their own spell traps to do stuff. So giving yourself a recurable, you should probably make it like a once per turn.
600?
No, 300 is probably fine. Remember, there are Harpies already get like 200 off Hunting Ground.
Fair.
I don't like his hair.
His hair is very anime. Very
not that
2000s
detailed.
anime.
You could literally like see his face rotated to the make him face to the left or his right, and it would still look exactly the same. It's like a horse mane essentially.
It's a little
that they
weird,
stuck on
yeah.
this person.
I like all the red, but yeah. I mean, I think his fashion sense is comparable to a Harpie. Notice how he's wearing, a high collared,
Studded,
skin tight like top with arm warmers.
This guy's going clubbing in the sky.
But exposed shoulders.
Yes. So like, I can understand why UDE thought, ooh, this guy's like related to Harpies. Obviously, he's not really. If they ever wanted to retrain him as an effect monster and explicitly make him Harpie's brother, once again, Konami, come on. Easy.
I even have a name for you. Harpie's lost brother.
That would actually be really good. It's very funny.
That would work actually.
Yeah. There's a lot of
like
stuff you could
All-Star
do. Yeah.
Marin.
So yeah, he's a guy.
Yeah.
So let's
no,
talk about the. Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say real quick. I do unironically like this card because I think in the Eternal Duelist Soul, I think you can get it pretty easily.
Yeah, he's in a
And
few
it's like-
video games. And that's pretty cool.
And so he's one of the 1800 beaters you can get fairly early on and fairly with fairly little trouble.
All right, so let's talk about a little something called the only 3 names rule. So, unlike Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a rule where you can only use 3 copies of the same card with the same name. So, there are certain cards that have effect text that says this card's name is always treated as X.
Yes,
Legendary Ocean
which
is a
is
very
a-
good example.
Can I bring up
a fusion
thing where
substitute as
I
well.
only know like 3 to 4 cards where it became an actual like major deal that this occurred?
Well, the
Harpies
Harpies is
being
one
one
of
of
them,
them?
yes. Yeah. Konami
What
has
was-
generally figured out that this is a problem in deck building, and in future Harpie cards, you will see the phrase, this card's name is treated as Harpie Lady on the field and in the graveyard.
Actually, they could make ones that say treated in the hand, but yeah.
I don't think there are many that they're treated in the hand. There are actually some fun cards that interact with that as well. But a Legendary Ocean is a great example. That card's name is always treated as Umi. This leads to some funny ruling stuff. The Legendary Fish Guy, Legendary Sea Warrior, whatever.
Legendary Fisherman.
No, not that guy. The guy you discard to search Legendary Ocean.
Oh. Atlantean?
Technically, that shouldn't work, but Konami has been very nice and says that it works anyway because it's the intent. Because technically, in your deck, a card named a Legendary Ocean does not exist. Its name is always treated as Umi during game state. But Konami, through the power of rulings, has just said that, no. You can read. The card's name is physically printed as a Legendary Ocean. You can search it. Don't fucking be like that.
Yeah, don't be that guy.
But this does mean that there was an instance where all 3 of the individual Harpie Ladies and Harpie Lady Sisters, which is a card art I'll pull up in a second, all of the individual Harpie Ladies got cards. They have a text that says, this card is always treated as Harpie Lady. Now, technically, this means that you can run each of the individual ones as a one-of in your deck, but usually you don't want to do that because that makes you hella inconsistent. So there's Harpie Lady number 1, there's Harpie Lady number 2.
And I'm pretty certain that this was the first time that they did that, and may or may not have realized that part of the way through.
Technically, a Legendary Ocean came first. These cards are all printed in Rise of Destiny, but yes, this is very, very early in card design terms.
Getting a closer look at Harpie Lady 1.
Yes. Well, so this is the uncensored card art. I think that's not the boobs are not the problem with Harpie Lady 1. This angle gives her a really weird facial expression.
I was saying that, but also like look at her waist, like it's kind of like...
the waist.
There's some definitely some like we're trying to figure out some poses and stuff, and it doesn't work. Harpie Lady 3 is not as bad, but definitely has a little bit of the same weird proportionates.
None of these are great.
No, what are you talking about? Harpie Lady 3 looks like she's treating her chest like hot air balloons. That's keeping her upright.
It's not super great. I would argue that these cards have the censored art is a little better because they redraw the chest area usually to be a little more proportional.
2 is at least the best one because she cheated. She's hiding herself behind
the wing.
Though,
funnily enough, even though she's hiding everything important, she is still censored in the TCG. They had to cover up her shoulders and that little bit of collarbone you can see. It's so dumb. I guess they just needed to be consistent.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Devil's argument here, consistency.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, each of these Harpie ladies have names. At least according to the old video game, The Falsebound Kingdom. Because there have been a lot of pseudo RPGs and stuff over the years. So Harpie Lady number 1 is called Airo, from an actual name of a classical Greek harpy. Aelo means storm swift. Harpie Lady 2 is Akupate, from Akupate with a Y. It means swift wing. And Harpie Lady 3 is Keirano from Keilano, or Kelano, or Celano, if you want to use a soft C, like a coward, which just means the dark. So, I, as a huge nerd, appreciate that, but yeah, the Harpie ladies are a little derp. The individual numbered Harpie ladies are a little derpy.
Yeah.
Also, unfortunately, basically only one has ever seen any play. Number 1, I should say. Number 1, all of them have the same stat line as regular Harpie Lady, so keep that in mind. Harpie Lady 1's effect is all wind monsters gain 300 attack. So immediately that turns her into a 1600, which is suboptimal, but works out with some of the stuff that Harpies do later, and in general makes a lot of your other cards much stronger.
And, 1600 4-star is okay.
Yes.
I mean,
yeah, it works. Yeah, it's not like they weren't still printing weird cards that were in that stat line. Harpie Lady 2 is like an eternal side deck card. She negates the effects of flip monsters this card destroys by battle. Very similar to that one trap card that negates the effect of flip monsters. Keep in mind, that's not just their flip effect. It negates the effect of flip monsters. So flip monsters that also do funny things and float, she gets those too. So that's a side deck card. It didn't really see heavy play ever, but it exists. 3 is the literal worst one. An opponent's monster that battles this card can't declare an attack to your opponent's next 2 turns. So that is put under the assumption that you will fucking lose that monster. Blocking out 2 turns of attack is not that helpful, game. Not that helpful, Konami.
Not really. Also, one more knock against Harpie number 2 there. So I'm pretty sure Sasuke Samurai exists at this point.
Oh yeah, no, there were several cards that handle flip monsters.
Numbered 1 does that.
There are several of them that do that. It's just that I think that when you're playing a Harpie deck, if you're playing the Winged Beast and stuff, it works.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now, to this day, just because having a card whose name in deck is Harpie Lady helps, you'll probably see decks playing maybe a couple of copies of Harpie Lady number 1, just because she is an attack modulator, and it all helps. Harpies have never been particularly strong in terms of damage output.
Although they are decent at gaining strength.
Yes. Ugh.
They find ways around that.
I do want to say that these 3 are very much an early idea of, I guess, a retrain where they wanted to make it more
Yeah.
character based in a way, but also make it where they have multiple
Yeah.
different effects. Instead, either later on, honestly, if they made this like past 2010, it probably would have been just you have a choose one effect. This is
Yeah,
what their
when you
effect
summon
is.
this card, choose an effect kind of a thing. Yeah, they would
It'd
have
be one
made
of
this
three.
better.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting concept, especially when you get to Harpie Lady Sisters. But there's a lot going on there. Now, there's one more attempt to retrain Harpie Lady. I've never seen this card up close. This card art does not look very good up close. So whoever drew the face on this did not do a great job. I think this was a redraw of a manga panel.
Yeah.
I can only assume
So this is Cyber Harpie Lady.
She's just wearing the
Alternatively, in Japanese, Harpie Lady Cyber Bondage, because that's the name of the card. This is just a funny attempt to fuse the equip spell, which just equipped just Harpie Lady only and gave her the 300 attack thing and didn't do anything else, unlike Arrow Nail. Which gives Harpie Lady a literal spiky bustier and like some extra, stuff. The whip is also a separate card, but is often paired with her, the Rose Whip. The face is bad. That's what Loth was, I'm sure, laughing at.
Yes.
The fact that the angle for her second spike is just dead on to be like a literal nipple is just also dumb. It's not a great card art.
Feels unnecessary. In
No,
ways.
it's part of the armor to protect the nipple.
Yeah, but still,
But
it
no.
feels a little weak.
As someone that has kind of
Yeah.
grown out of their weird, I guess, pseudo
Go on.
Hellraiser phase most people have when they're like 15 to 19, of like, I feel like a lot of weird edges and spikes on nipples just feel unnecessary in most places.
It's true.
Man, where's Dallas to comment on this? I'm sure
He's
have
working.
something funny
He's
to
gonna
say.
miss us.
No,
He would have
just-
something to
just
say
treat-
about this.
Treat nipple spikes
I
like,
have
was it
nothing to
tire
say on
treads
this.
or whatever it is?
Um,
The spikes you see on.
But yeah, so this is another attempt at a retrain, and arguably a thing we would actually see a lot more now in terms of modern support, including for Harpie Lady, where they reference specific card combos in the anime and manga with a single effect monster who has the effect of that combo. So, Cyber Shield, aka Cyber Bondage, plus Harpie Lady creates Cyber Harpie Lady. Well, what if we just made her a monster? So Cyber Harpie Lady is an effect monster whose effect is her name is always treated as Harpie Lady. She is a level 4 winged beast, and she has 1800 attack, 1300 defense. Basically, if you equipped Cyber Shield to her. This card probably saw some fringe play in decks as an alternative to Harpie Lady number 1. Obviously, this is a straight-up improvement over Vanilla Harpie Lady. I think the primary problem was that she was a really hard card to come by. This was originally a manga, a Shonen Jump promo in America.
Of course.
It was a sneak peek card for Flaming Eternity as well. It was a tournament prize card. This card wasn't properly reprinted until Dark Legends, specifically in North America. And even then, it was still as a super rare. She did not get a common printing until Legendary Collection for Joey's World, which included a shitload of Harpie support.
Hold on, wasn't that like?
That was the
Xyz
year
era?
2013. Yes.
Ugh.
Though she was printed in 2020 as a Speed Duel card in the Speed Duel Battle City box, where this card is much better.
I had better. I hope.
In Speed Duel, having a Harpie Lady with 1800 attack probably counts for a lot.
Yes.
But yeah, so she's been through a couple of common reprints. She was reprinted as a common in Legendary Duel Season 2 as well, because that also had some Harpie Lady adjacent stuff in there. But yeah, this card was really hard to come by for the original years it was printed, which does not help, unfortunately. Okay, so let's actually talk about the thing that made Harpie basically an archetype originally. Also, keep in mind and compare this art to the art of the individual Harpie Ladies.
I don't know. Before I actually see them on screen, I'm always thinking about Harpie thing is a weird thing about them being they duplicate themselves instead of having multiples of themselves in a weird way.
Yes. It is implied, I think, through some of the card names and effects that the Harpie Ladies one of the things they can do is like get out there. I do think it is intended that there are multiple of them, like see with like
there's,
girl and stuff,
one of
but
each,
like
there's like only one of each, but they duplicate themselves to like be in the hundreds, kind of thing.
there's definitely some other weird stuff going on. So this is the card, Harpie Lady Sisters. In the original Japanese, it's Harpie Lady 3 Sisters specifically. This is again, this was a fucking manga panel that Kazuki Takahashi drew that somebody had to copy
It's
over.
1, 2, and 3. It's them. Yeah.
So yeah, it's not ideal, I don't think. Like
It's not
3's face is also
worst.
still really goofed up. I think looking at this is not quite because number 1 isn't in the same pose, but
1 and 2's hair look better, but I will say like 2's looks like 2's chest was drawn on after the fact.
Yeah, look at that fucking thing.
well, and I think that's why in 2's card art she has the same pose, but her wing is slightly higher to cover her chest area, right? Like, I feel like the card arts for because 3 back there is doing the exact same pose, though it doesn't look like she has wings. It looks like she has fucking flying squirrel membranes. This is another weird one. Like, this card art is weird.
Yeah, it's weird. It's okay.
The only thing they did to censor this is they just removed the spikes on the nipples. So shoulders are okay. I also think they didn't really de-spike the whip. The whip is still a thorned whip. So Harpie Lady Sisters is a weird card. This is one of those classic you could only make with a special, spell card trick. There were a lot of these gotcha moments in the anime and manga that don't really work so good in this, though it may shock you to know that because of the way this entire archetype is built to support Elegant Egotist later, you actually do usually play at least one copy of Sisters.
Yeah.
Because you have a lot of interaction with level 6 higher or lower monsters.
I did fight a Harpie Lady deck in Master Duel. People still run it.
Yeah. It's good as a name because she doesn't count as Harpie Lady, and sometimes you do need extra names.
It's harder for other things too.
Yes, because of the interaction with Elegant Egotist and being the name Harpie Lady Sisters, there's a lot of support that revolves around that. So Harpie Lady Sisters is a winged beast. It's a level 6. It's got 1950 attack, 2100 defense, so never had great stats, unfortunately. Can't be special summoned. Must first be special summoned with the effect of Elegant Egotist. Elegant Egotist, by the way, really weird translation name. His name in Japanese is Kaleidoscope Mangekyo, funnily enough. Elegant Doppelgangers, or Karinaru Bunshin. So it's just a doppelganger technique. It's kind of an interesting card art because it just shows a kaleidoscope reflection of Harpie Lady. Let me actually pull it up.
Why is it called Elegant Doppelganger?
I don't know. I assume
fine.
that was a 4Kids thing because it would have been in the anime first before it was printed in the
Thanks,
TCG.
Egotist just seems like a weirder thing to say.
Thanks, 4Kids.
So yeah,
I mean,
there's
would
Elegant
you-
Egotist. If you've never looked at it up close, it is literally a kaleidoscope of Harpie Lady number 1's face.
I would find it hilarious to just be
I
like,
was-
oh man, it's what did you call it? Harpie Mangekyo or whatever it was.
Yeah.
My mind immediately goes to Mangekyo Sharingan.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said it that way so that people would do the thing. But yeah, no.
Too late.
Elegant Doppelgangers, I think, would be an interesting name. But yeah, it's Elegant Egotist. Elegant Egotist is just a normal spell that says if a Harpie Lady is on the field, special summon a Harpie Lady Sisters or a Harpie Lady from your hand or deck. Now, obviously, this means that the cards that count as Harpie Lady from your deck, that they have a reason to do that. But in general, yes, this lets you turn a Harpie Lady into a Sisters or another Harpie Lady. And so there's no once per turn or anything on this. If you draw multiple Elegant Egotists, you can use them to keep turboing out more Harpies. So Harpies have always been kind of a swarm deck. Which is honestly how Mai plays them in the anime and the manga. She uses Elegant Egotist to technically duplicate them into 3 to make them the Harpie Lady Sisters, so they're stronger, but like it's still very interesting. By the way, note that in the TCG card game rules, this doesn't get rid of your original Harpie Lady, so you can summon a Sisters and still have your regular Harpie on the field. This means you can do stuff like number 1, etc. So, and again, even though this card doesn't say Harpie in its name, because it doesn't say Harpie in its name, there are a fuck ton of later Harpie support cards that explicitly call it Elven Egotist, you will usually play one copy so you can search it. I think it's probably clogs of your deck a little too much to run multiple copies these days, but you absolutely could because it is just a normal spell with no hopped.
Yeah, I think its only thing is that it requires you have a Harpie Lady on the field already. And
Yes, but obviously the entire Harpie Lady archetype is designed to let you do that.
yeah,
Later.
That's also true.
So let's talk about the last guy in the lineup. One of our actual in the manga ones. This one never had to be censored. Though for some reason, people on wikis like to interpolate him as a gimp. I don't know about that. He's just a pet dragon. He's just got wearing a collar. Okay, it's Harpie's pet dragon.
Yeah.
He's very skinny.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a wind dragon.
And I think he was supposed to be like skinny and lithe and flying to kind of complement, like, to look different from other major dragons, because you know there's a lot of people using dragons all around together. I don't think there's a lot to say about him though. He's a dragon. He's Harpie's pet dragon. He has kind of feathery ears. That's his thing. That's it.
Yeah. I don't hate it.
No, it's not bad. It's just
okay.
It's a dragon. There's not really a lot to say.
No, there really isn't. Other than, gasp, effect text.
Yes, Harpie's pet dragon actually does a thing. And given this was played in the Duelist Kingdom, final tournament, final round robin there, was actually a decent boss monster because you could normal summon it. I don't think if anybody's ever tried making Harpies work in Junior Journey because you only get one spell activation, but you could try. Harpie's pet dragon is a wind level 7 effect dragon with 2,000 attack, 2,500 defense, so kind of opposite Dark Magician stats. Worked very well because this showed up first in Mai's match with Yugi. I think that was in semis. And it has a very simple effect text. This card gains 300 attack and defense for each Harpie Lady on the field. So, again, if you could hypothetically get this guy out, which is not easy because they did not originally have a way to special summon him easily, but if you can actually get him out, he can be pretty robust. At the very least, got a fat ass. That's already 2,500 defense. That's 28 with one Harpie Lady. It's pretty strong. And of course, with Mai was also playing Mirror Wall in that match, which halved your attack. So there was some stuff going on there. Pet Dragon's another card that was really hard to get a hold of back in the day. It was a video game promo for Forbidden Memories, which I think was one of the ones I did not own. Yeah, no, that was... I really wanted to own Forbidden Memories, but I don't think I ever did. Because that's... Forbidden Memories comes with Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon, Harpie's Pet Dragon, and Metal Morph. If you want to talk about mechanics that did not work. But it has been subsequently reprinted several times. In a variety of rarities, actually. Konami usually up-reses this guy. It was an Ultra in both Joey's World and Legendary Duelist Season 2. Though in Speed Duels, it is a common. But he has a retrain we will talk about later, which makes him infinitely better. I personally, for reasons, played a lot of Pet Dragon and Harpie's decks. I don't know if he was always played that way, but this is how you have a rank 7 line, and rank 7 Xyz monsters are fucking good.
Yes. If you need evidence of this, watch anything to do with Dragon Rules.
Yes. And obviously,
That's
Tempest
the
himself, while he was legal at multiple copies, replaced Harpie's Pet Dragon, but you can only run one Tempest these days, so if you want to do your level 7 line more than once, usually, you may actually need multiple copies. But again, since there's a retrain, you almost never play this original version anymore. But yes, rank 7, the rank 7 pool is good, and Harpies can do some pretty spicy things with that, so it's actually, like, not the worst card.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, was it quarters? It might have been quarters. Oh, I'm sorry, Zed. Sky Scout already got a shout-out. We went through that with our vanillas. You can scroll back and see it later. But yeah, that was all of the original blob of support. And Harpies kind of made do as a weird... Actually, wait, no. There's one card I forgot. there is another card that is relevant. It is not called Harpie, but it is very clearly meant to synergize. I forgot to bring him up. I'll do it.
Yep.
And this actually is
for
relevant.
For my final thoughts on good old Pet Dragon here, like he's for an older card, considering that Harpies like to swarm, almost usable if he had like a special summon condition.
Hey, guess what they did on the retrade? That's the first line of text is, hey, you could special summon this guy.
Nice.
Yeah, so they figured that one out. It's still.
I figured you wanted to save that for when.
No, we can mention it now. It'll be like 30 minutes before we get back around there, because that's like at the very end. That came out like last year, so.
Oh really? I didn't realize he was that modern.
No, yeah, that was it was a very recent card that came out. So yes, they sat on retraining Pet Dragon for a long time.
Yeah.
Though they did make another pet. They've made a couple of Pet Dragon adjacent cards we'll talk about. But this is Birdface. Now, from his art, I don't know if you can tell that he's related to Harpie ladies, but you should be able to. I have questions about whoever, basically where Birdface shops. Because we talked about like the Cenobite stuff. He's got like the rubber latex tubing bodysuit thing, but he's wearing like, are those camouflage pants? Is that scale mail? Is that, did he, skin a Muppet? What is he wearing on his legs?
Yes, that is one Kermit the Frog on his legs.
I mean, it looks kind of like a green felt or something. It's really weird.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really great texture work in this card, but that makes it really fucking weird.
Yeah, no, it does, because
like his arms are so gross and muscly.
There is something just right in that uncanny valley about this guy for me.
Yeah, I don't know. He's very off-putting. I don't know what's up with him.
I remember seeing this art a lot, and I just never really liked it.
No, he's kind of.
That's fine. It's supposed to be a monster.
Also, guess what? You're never going to see this guy for long. Birdface, literally Badafesu in Japanese, is a wind-winged beast. He is level 4. He is 16/16. And his effect is very simple. If this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, add a Harpie Lady from your deck to your hand. So again, not really relevant anymore due to how battle phasing works and like destroyed by battle effects are. But again, this card came out in Pharaonic Guardian. Like, this was like a couple sets after the original Harpie Ladies came out. So
yeah, that's I guess
it's
not
a searcher,
bad.
and it has a better stat line than a vanilla Harpie Lady, so it works. He is a guy.
Actually, you bring up a good point. Why would you want to search out an explicitly weaker monster with a stronger monster? Well, I mean,
it's a little weird. Because you can probably set up the Harpie Lady Sisters combo, or alternatively, once they printed Cyber Harpie Lady and like Harpie Lady #1, you could get to a monster that was technically bigger or as big.
Yeah.
It's still weird, but yes.
Don't mind me.
When this card came out in 2003, you were correct, though. I don't think there was a really good use for Birdface, but as they added more Harpie cards, it became better.
Yeah.
Okay, so... So, while Harpie Girl has never gotten a retrain, they haven't completely forgotten her. Harpie sat kind of unaccessed for a while until we get into, like I said, the Lord of the Storm structure deck and into the GX era. There were still Harpie Lady like references in the GX anime. I believe both Harpie Lady herself and Sky Scout, aka Harpie's brother, showed up as like dual spirits for duels. They printed some cards, including this one, Harpie's Pet Baby Dragon.
Oh.
Like I said, it's a retrain where they kind of combined a bit.
They did some efforts, yes. I think they just made it better because he's normal summonable but does other things. But like card art design-wise, it's a little baby dragon, which could arguably be an OG Joey Baby Dragon reference. Spoilers for stuff I'm going to talk about later. Remember that Joey Wheeler was an absolute kitchen sink lunatic when it came to building his decks, and after Mai lost. Was that quarterfinals of the Kaiba? God, I gotta look at the Kaiba Cup bracket again. The Battle City bracket. Anyway, after Mai lost to Dark Merrick, Joey jammed some Harpie ladies in his deck, so I don't think they fucking did anything, because, like, always, all his cards were terrible, but it could be a reference to actual Baby Dragon, because that showed up a couple of times.
Okay, so I need to ask this now. I don't understand power scaling in card game anime unless it's literally that if a card is like a secret rare, only 5 exist in the world or something. I don't get it. I really don't.
I think
I do actually think that is the implication of the Yu-Gi-Oh anime. Remember, there were only ever 4 Blue Eyes printed, and which is really dumb considering the 3 rule. Maybe when Takahashi wrote that, he was thinking it would be like Magic and you could have 4 copies. But
Kaiba was just being a dick, destroying the 4th.
Yes, so that is actually a thing. Like, Maximilian Pegasus is supposed to be a eccentric millionaire type guy. He prints cards that are legal to play in games of Duel Monsters, but are not widely distributed like Toons because they're broken. Shit like that. So, yeah, no, like, I think there is actually supposed to be, like, the rarity problem is supposed to be even worse in the fiction of Yu-Gi-Oh! Than it is in real life. Alternatively, maybe the secondary market doesn't exist in Yu-Gi-Oh!
I think it's also a thing where people don't know what cards' effects are, even though I feel like it should be fair to be able to read your opponent's cards.
Yeah, I think that's got a lot to do with how Duel Monsters has almost always been portrayed as, like, partially RPG-like and heavily computerized. But yes, no, also I'm wrong. The secondary market absolutely exists. At one point, Kaiba offers to trade a briefcase full of cards.
Yes, but it's an illegal second market where it's all, like, black market instead of, like...
No. Yuki's grandpa's shop, he's selling singles.
Oh yeah.
He's running a friendly local game store.
Oh, fair. I guess he does.
I think that means that Yu-Gi-Oh cards rarities are just that rare. A secret rare really is literally a secret. You don't know about it until somebody tells you.
Why does no one run like a bunch of Himitsu Giants if they're like common but good?
I mean, I don't think a Tatsumi Giant is that good. Then again, that might just be because we're following the I know, yeah. When they first printed the original set, but even when Hitatsumi Giant shows up, when Cyclops shows up, Yugi kicks his ass real fast. So, like, it's a fun comment. But anyway, Pet Dragon, Harpie Girl came back. She looks much more like a girl in this. They've kind of chibied her up too. It makes her head look a little extra big. Though, funnily enough, we won't talk about it because it's regular. It's just regular Harpie Lady, but a Toon. But there is a Toon Harpie Lady they printed also fairly recently. Girls' proportions are not that bad, but I definitely feel like the artist really wanted to emphasize the chibi style a lot. But otherwise, it's a good art. So, Pet Dragon is a level 4 Wind Dragon. He is a dragon. He has 1200, 600, so his stats aren't super great right now, but he gains effects based on the number of Harpie monsters you control, except Pet Dragon. So, this arguably even gets around some of the fact that there are some weird extra, going around. It's very silly for the stars. I'm pretty sure there were already 10-star monsters besides, like, the Egyptian god cards printed. Maybe those were only fusion monsters, though. I'd have to double-check. It's an interesting theory, but yeah. I don't know. That doesn't necessarily solve the problem of, like, the fact that, like, Lejin and Axeman are only 4 stars and are, like, really fucking broken. Mechanical Chaser, shit like that. Anyway, Harpie's Pet Dragon gains a number of effects equal based on the number of Harpies you control. It's not equal because it's caps out at 3. But effect number 1, your opponent cannot target Harpie monsters you control. For attacks, except Pet Dragon or Pet Baby Dragon. 2, double the original attack and defense of this card. So that technically makes it bigger than vanilla Pet Dragon because it would go to 24 and still be a 4-star monster. 3, once per turn, target a monster your opponent controls, destroy that target. So, again, I don't think he's very popular now because they have even better strategies with flooding. But Pet Baby Dragon, when he came out, and was actually printed in that structure deck, Lord of the Storm, this was a decent attempt to do Pet Dragon, but better. He starts smaller, But if you can set up the play with something like an Elegant Egotist or use a lot of reborning tricks, there's a lot of... Chad might be able to help me out that. What's that one equip spell card that's really good in Harpie Lady? It's Emblem of something. Emblem of Heritage? Heritage's Emblem? It basically, if you've got... at least it's Premature Burial, but only if you have at least 3 copies of a card with the same name in your graveyard. So the way Harpie Ladies work, okay, it's really strong, actually.
Where you banish one, yeah, right? You banish one to do it.
Something like that, yeah. But because all of your Harpie monsters count as Harpie Lady in the graveyard or on the field, it lets you use it a lot. So I don't remember when that one came out, but it also works well with like Pet Dragon. So you can actually get some girls on the board, and you can have a 2400 normal summon who has a once per turn pop and also gives your other Harpie Ladies like battle protection. Combine it with like Harpie Lady number 1 for like even more. It's a solid thing.
Yeah, no, there's.
So this was considering this was like 2006. That was good attempt at legacy support. Yeah. But let's talk about the real ass legacy support. So there were quite a few cards like these, cards that were printed with the intent to let you discard to get a field spell. Several of them have been meta, and this is one of them. It's Harpie Queen. And I will pull up the field spell as well, Harpie's Hunting Ground. But there's Queen. Yeah, I think Queen is a really good attempt. And this was, like I said, several years later. I think this was, what was this printed in? Force the Breaker 07. So it's like, you know, 5-ish years later. The art style of Yu-Gi-Oh! Artists has become more refined. Yeah. This is a really good attempt at getting the, like, actual aesthetic of Harpie Ladies, but giving her a distinct look. She's got a different coloring, being green. She's got, like, white wings and stuff like that. But still keeping the trends. And also, honestly, a better proportion than some of the original Harpie Ladies. This is obviously the uncensored version because she's not wearing a bodysuit. But, like, her body proportions are not crazy out of control anyway.
She's a little under-waisted, but, like, it's not odd unless you really look at it.
I mean, I think that's it's still, like, it's an hourglass shape, right? Like, it's not, like, super extreme. She doesn't look, like, malnourished because you can't, like, count her ribs.
No, I just think she just might have really thin bones.
Well, she got bird bones. They're hollow.
Yeah. But also, there is one thing I don't necessarily like about this art, and that's the front claw, arm claw thing.
Her hands are a little long, but all of them are like that.
Yeah, they kind of are.
Like technically her arms are actually like really long if you look at them, but that's because they're also her wings.
Yeah.
So this is Harpie's Hunting Ground, by the way. It is canonical. Harpie Ladies eat Ojamas.
I think they eat a lot of other things, but Ojamas are the easiest ones.
Yeah.
I mean, they only have 1,000 defense and no attack. I don't.
Ah, shit! I'm missing out on Ojamas.
Yeah. We've got Harpie Hunting Ground on the screen, but Harpie Queen, she's got a little tiara. That's cool. I think that's an homage to a manga shot where the Harpie Lady sisters were once shown with a tiara. By the way, there's that's another retrain you could do, Konami. Harpie Queen sisters. Just saying.
It's fine now.
Like that.
Yeah, like you could give themselves another effect. So there's some stuff there. So Harpie Lady Queen. First of all, godly stat line considering this was 07. A Wind Wing Beast level 4, 1900 attack, 1200 defense. Admittedly, only 50 less than Harpie Lady Sisters itself, but you can fucking normal summon this lady.
Yes.
And her effect is this card's name becomes Harpie Lady while on the field or in the graveyard. So only by 2007, Konami had figured this out. They figured out how to do this Harpie naming thing, you know.
Yep.
And also, you can discard this card to your graveyard, add a Harpie's Hunting Ground from your deck to your hand. And what Hunting Ground does is all winged beast monsters gain 200 attack and defense. That means that if you're running Harpie's Queen in your deck, they can be 2100. If any Harpie Lady or Harpie Lady Sisters is normal or special summoned, the player who conducted that summon targets a spell trap on the field and destroys the target. So, hypothetically, in a mirror match, Harpie's Hunting Ground could fuck you, but Hunting Ground actually became a really useful tool for some decks. Now, it's important to note that Hunting Ground is a mandatory effect. This has led to many, many years of Harpie's players popping Hunting Ground. So much so that actually, like I said earlier, later Harpie spell traps explicitly have a theme about popping themselves because they understand that sometimes you're going to play Hunting Ground and you're going to blow up your own spell traps.
Yeah. But yeah, no. This is a reasonable card, even, I'd say, up until more modern times. Like, a good stat line on a normal summonable that can also just search out your archetypal fields.
And I do believe
but...
Queen is still played because Terraforming, remember, is at 1.
Yeah.
So,
but, like,
the extra body is still useful.
There are modern decks that would kill for that today.
Oh, yeah. What were you saying next?
I guess just to put it in, why have they not made cards that are just, this can be targeted but not destroyed by the effect of Harpie's Hunting Ground? I guess they have to make it smaller. It's like shorter.
I mean, you could make it so cards can't be destroyed, but I think that they just went the other way and embraced...
Yeah,
rather than
I
make
think...
it so that your spell traps can't be destroyed, they just turned it into a thing where you get advantage when your own spell
I meant
traps
specifically by your own effect, as in you can't, Hunting Ground can't destroy it.
I think they probably thought about that for a second and then realized that it would just be A, easier on the text space, but also B, just like better to integrate it into combo lines.
Generally, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has moved away from hyper-specific interactions to avoid text bloat. Adding a line on a card that says you cannot destroy this card with Harpie's Hunting Ground, you'd have to say you can still target it, would just add an extra sentence that you don't need to do when you could either make it so you can't destroy that spell trap, period, though that could obviously make some of these decks kind of bullshit, or, like I said, you could, what happened is a lot of those spell traps got that integrated into the actual like setup of this deck. Quite a few continuous spell and trap cards that Harpies play that we will probably start talking about in the not too distant future. Plus you off being destroyed. So they basically just turned it because Harpie's Hunting Ground is such an amazing card in general, because every time a Harpie is normal or special summoned, you get to pop that. Yes, technically. You can accidentally often blow up your own Hunting Ground if you go too far. It's only 200 attack and defense, you know.
Yeah. Well, and you also lose your spell pop.
But
on summon.
If you're targeting Hunting Ground, that's probably because there are no other spell traps on the field to target.
Yeah, that's fair. Also, I just realized, wait, there's no once per turn on this?
No! Mandatory if any Harpie Lady or Harpie Lady Sisters is normal or special pop. So yes, every time you summon, you must pop.
The eternal question of early Yu-Gi-Oh.
Where's the once per turn? Honestly, again, the fact that it's mandatory does kind of balance that out. It does have to destroy itself. And Hunting Ground is actually pretty old. It was printed in Rise of Destiny, like in 2004. It's just that Harpie Queen came much later to actually search it. But once you combine Queen with some of the other cards, you actually have a decent payoff to special summoning, which can just whittle down your opponent's board presence and has always been an option to play. The fact that this is a trigger effect of the field spell, so it's not a monster effect, that means that you, when it was legal, would beat Mystic Mine. You can out skill drain with this card. Lots of other shit like that. There's a lot of floodgates you can get around this way.
Yeah, no, it's they still run that. I assume they still run this card. No,
yes.
You said earlier they still do.
Yeah, no. I know that sometimes there are debates on whether or not you should, but there's
debates about it.
It's a searchable card that is in archetype that gets you a spell trap pop, and for many years, Feather Duster was not legal.
Yeah, no, that's...
So... it's a very solid compliment. Now, after that, Harpies go fairly quiet for a little bit. They don't come back until, as I mentioned earlier, the Xyz era, where they do actually get a couple of extra supporters. We actually get some Harpie ladies who are outside of our normal curve here. Here is Harpie Lady Channeler.
This one's a cute one.
Yeah, I like Channeler. She's got a really interesting hairstyle. I like that she's got, her magic stick. She's also, while still, I think, associated because there's, like, some lace and stuff, and she's holding a collar on a chain, so you want to watch out for that one.
Yeah.
You're telling you she's looking for dragons.
Also true. But her style is a little different than the sisters. It still is censored in TCG because she's got a navel. How dare.
You know what's funny? She got black wings, so why is there white feathers in the upper part?
Well, her stick has feathers, yeah.
Okay. Sorry. As soon as I started saying that, I looked and went, "Oh shit."
Yeah, by the way, this is very funny. The censored version is hilarious. It's first of all, they had to lengthen her stockings to be thigh length, even though I think most people think that's sexier, and they made sure to draw on a full body bodysuit again for the consistency. So her shoulders, navel, and upper thighs are covered. Oh my god, who would Konami?
They also
makes these
cover
decisions?
what looks like the lace there, or
yeah, no, because it's all the same color now.
I was gonna say it might just be better to pull up this one, if possible.
I don't think we need to. It's fine. We got this one. This is a Lost Art, so you can actually acquire the uncensored art in English. The Lost Art is a great system that they do. It would also make sense talking about Dancer. They were printed at similar times. So, Channeler, if you don't have anything else to say about this art, it's nice. I like what they're doing here.
Yeah, no, it's not a... It's a reasonable art.
She is a level 4 winged beast, obviously. Wind. 1400 attack, 1300 defense. But that doesn't really matter because her effect is you can discard a Harpie card, any Harpie card. Got spare hunting grounds you don't want to lose? Got some other shit? Discard them. Special summon one Harpie monster in your deck from defense position except Channeler. You can only use this effect of Channeler once per turn. So hopped. We remembered how once per turns work. While you control a dragon monster, this card's level becomes 7. This card's name becomes Harpie Lady on the field and in the graveyard. So this is the rank 7 engine I was talking about.
yes.
Because it summons from deck, you can use her... this was printed in Tachyon Galaxy, so this was heavily in the Xyz era. Depending on how you want to play this, you can use Channeler for either an instant rank 4 play. You have to discard a Harpie card, but she's basically then like a Kage to Kage or Goblinberg in archetype, because she gets you an extra 4. Or, if you combine her with Pet Dragon, you can summon Pet Dragon. You have 2 level 7s on the field. Boom. You can make a rank 7. Like, I don't know, Dracossack, Big Eye, Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon.
Odd Eyes, Absolute.
Yeah, Odd Eyes Absolute, another really great one. You're right. That one was a little later, because that was not until Pendulum, but a very great rank 7.
Oh, right, yeah.
But still,
I just remember you did use this card against us a few
times.
Yeah,
no. This was a cornerstone for me and my Harpie decks. I was playing the Pet Dragons to make it work and everything. So Channeler really opened up their Xyz package, and I think is part of why in 2014 when after this card came out, it was in 2013 originally. Why this card has always been part of what made Harpies meta when they were, and also probably why this card has never been printed below ultra rare. It's a really good card.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it was a Lost Art promo, so hypothetically there should be some cheaper ones floating around. To get a Lost Art, you have to pay $20 or $30 for sealed product in a store. But you get it tacked on as an extra, so... If you're buying sealed booster packs in person, Lost Arts are really easy to get. Now, you got to watch out because people will gouge you. I did have to overpay for my Lost Art Dark Magician Girl, but that's just because they understand how the market works. But yeah, so Channeler, really important card. And somebody brought up, she was released at the same time as another main deck Harpie monster, Dancer. And I definitely feel like the two are supposed to be paired. Because
it was like these two and like one other.
Well, they got their own archetype Xyz, so we'll be talking about that one.
Because I always think about it being like, these are really like the special harpies, in a weird way to put it.
Well, harpies since Queen have had like occupations
identity.
added. This is dancer, so like they've tried to like explain that there is a harpy society that these ladies are perhaps part of.
Some kind of matriarchy.
Well, yeah, there's definitely a queen.
Like, legitimately a matriarchy. Like,
There's no harpy princess, so we could, I don't know, we got some room there. Though, I don't know. Again, given the BDS overtones, yeah, I'm saying overtones, no undertones here. Queen could mean something else in this context. I don't fucking know. But yeah, this is Dancer. Dancer is also another really popular card that is good in the Harpy setup. But art-wise, again, this is the uncensored art because she's just wearing like a you know, a belly dancer costume. She's got a little jangly belt and a bikini top. Oh no, how terrifying. She's doing a little dance. You notice that her wings are white and then her clothing is black. So kind of a fun opposite to Channeler, who was released at the same time. She looks like she's having fun, at least.
Yeah. And artistic foil to Channeler.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see this being... It's not explicitly, because there's not necessarily enough pink in this, but I could see if they meant this as, like, a revamp of Girl.
I think it'd be cool. I feel like a cool summoning animation if it was like her doing like a spiral dance. It's like
Yeah, that kind of seems like she... I mean, I kind of feel like with the big, long wings, Harpy Dancer's more of a fan dancer.
fair.
But yeah, there's some fun here.
it's funny you say that because you just made me realize that Dancer in 14 does have some fan moves.
Yeah, as well. There's a lot of dancing.
Chakram, so yeah.
Harpy Dancer is Winged Beast level 4. Now, she's only 1,200 1,000. Well, that's okay, because you're doing other shit with this. You can target a wind monster you control, return it to your hand, normal summon a wind monster. You can only use the effect of Dancer once per turn. This card's name becomes Harpy Lady while in the field or graveyard. So, back in the day, Harpies actually had a strategy with the Divine Wind of the Mist Valley field spell, which when wind monsters were returned to your hand, you did stuff. So this was part of why that worked and gave them extra synergy. With Mist Valley being, I think, limit 1, because there's some abusable bounce stuff you can do.
Yeah.
This became less prominent. I don't really see Dancer too much these days. Usually, probably as like a 1 or 2 of to combo with other specific Harpy cards that are designed around bouncing your own monsters. You'll notice she doesn't have a special summon effect, so you do kind of need another way to get more Harpies on the board. Obviously, I think that like you could use some kind of line with Channeler to special Dancer into a summon, but then why aren't you just normal summoning the monster you want to summon? You know, why do you go through the thin?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I don't know.
Just, like, you could just summon it straight up. Why are you gonna go through all the rigmarole? Just normal summon.
And that's why with Valley, there was actually like a purpose to that, because you would get advantage off bouncing. That said, again, you'll notice this is all generic wind. Target a wind you control, return it, normal summon a wind. So,
Yeah.
a good generic tech card. I think she's not played as much anymore. Though then again, like I said, Harpies haven't been making top cuts for several years. Konami trying, though. We keep printing the support. So,
Yeah.
the Exceed.
Yeah, hold on. Sorry, I just realized.
Good.
Oh, go ahead.
I just realized this, and this will hurt Omega. Harpy Lady has gotten more support than Red Eyes.
Not
I'd win, I guess.
actually. The problem is that Harpy has a much more consistent game plan than Red Eyes. I talked about this at the beginning of the stream.
More consistent.
Konami really doesn't know what to do with a lot of these legacy supports. Like, the original Harpy Lady plan was just swarm Harpy Ladies, pop your opponent's back row, and, like, make big bird ladies, I guess. Like, play a wind tribal deck and make them very large. Or a winged beast tribal deck. With the advent of Channeler and this upcoming card we're going to show about, Phantasmal Dragon, like, they started to get an Xyz axis, and that seemed to be their thing. And technically, they got a Link monster to support them during Master Rule 4. But then Cyber Slash came out, and they've got a Synchro monster that doesn't need tuners, so, like, they just Synchro?
Which,
so
honestly, I feel like is a good way to just make
to add
work.
Synchro monsters to archetypes that don't have it? Yeah, no, it's pretty interesting.
I feel like they should do that more, where it's like, you can cheat if you play specifically this archetype.
Yeah, that would probably be fun. But Cyber Slash is, like, really important. Red Eyes has also gotten a lot of weird shit. Like, they've gotten arguably meta-relevant fusion monsters. Slash actually does stuff he is a negate if you're playing an equip-based deck. But why are you playing an equip-based deck in Red Eyes? That's so slow. Dark Warrior existed, so there were... and an Infernoble. Basically, there are way more relevant stupid equip monster decks that are out there. You can play a Red Eyes burn deck, but Konami tries really hard to make that not work.
I mean, I think because they realized that FTK burn strat...
Well, they don't, because fucking Starving Venom was legal for way too fucking long in Master Duel. And technically is still at 1, which I do believe still enables some FTKs. Not all of them, though. You need usually 2 to do the classic Pendulum FTK with Lyrilisk, but, like... Konami learns their lesson, but they don't apply their lesson retroactively. They'll just make future cards bad. And honestly, if you draw like a god, you can still Red Eyes FTK. You just have to draw all 3 copies of Inferno Fire Blast, turn 1. Which you can do. It is possible.
A Red Eyes burn. A friend of mine got that happened to him via the AI.
Yeah, no, if you just draw multiple copies of Inferno Fire Blast and you do the play correctly, the fucking turn, the game's over. But, like, that's where shit like Red Eyes Soul, and now they actually printed a proper, like, Red Eyes Meteor Black or whatever, like Meteor Dragon at a Red Eyes, and not the weird Gemini one. Because that was the other thing. Red Eyes got stuck with the Gemini support for a long time. It was weird, but...
Because Joey always had to be 3rd grade.
Harpies actually, like I said, got some meta representation during the Hat era. Red Eyes has never been relevant, other than until Phoenix Enforcer came out, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon was exactly the best card you could make with Verte.
I was going to say,
Phoenix
when was the last time... Oh. Yeah, go ahead, Walt.
Go, David. I'm just molding over here.
As he does.
Oh. I was going to say, when was the last time an anime deck was actually, you know...
Well, hey, Salomon Great is a important deck from Vrains that actually did stuff.
Granted, I haven't seen or know anything about Vrains.
I would have to look at top tournaments.
Yeah, look, I was right.
I forget that Salad is a anime deck.
Yep.
We're really sure, like, what was it? Like, is it Harpie Resting Ground? I forget the name of it, but it's like it's that continuous spell that lets you, like, shuffle, like, Pot of Avarice yourself continuously.
I don't think that's not continuous. Harpie's Feather Rest is just a regular spell.
I just remember liking it because it showed all the later iteration Harpies.
Yeah, there's quite a few. They've had a lot of fun with the card arts over the year. We will probably be talking about yes, Castrali, you are also correct. Revolver is the basis of Dragon Link, is, you know, all the rocket cards and Boral cards, which are good. That said, there's a lot of other stuff that's mixed in there, so I wouldn't necessarily call Dragon Link a purely anime deck. There's, you know, Guard Dragons and Dragoonies and other weird shit in there. It's just, Dragon Link is called Dragon Link because it's just Dragon good stuff with Link climbing. But you are correct in that is, at its heart, involves a lot of Rocket Engine cards, so that's also pretty close, yeah. So there are a few. I mean, Bird Up hasn't been relevant in like a year. But also true. Lyrilisk decks were popular. Lyrilisk is from 5Ds. If you want to talk about old school anime archetypes, no, those have not been relevant in a while, despite Konami's best efforts. But they do try, and occasionally you get them up there. I mean, hell, the Dark World Boys are characters in GX, and I don't think it's been showing at tournaments because tier is that oppressive. But with the new structure deck, Danger Dark World is pretty good.
And also maybe future knowledge that hopefully tier gets slapped.
Oh yeah, well we know that when a ban list happens, Tier Laments is gonna something. The question is just what the TCG will do, because the OCG's first run of the ban list hasn't actually stopped people from playing tier. It's just made them play tier weirdly and with more fucking Ishizu cards. Actually, there it is. There's your answer. There's your answer, David. Ishizu's retrain cards are very relevant in the meta right now.
Fair and
What do they just ban the Ishizu cards?
Well, they probably need to do that because they're such crazy generic enablers. But anyway, we won't get into this discussion again. Yes. I don't know when Konami's next ban list is up. Anyway, Harpie's Phantasmal Dragon, honestly, I think the reason why we've just been talking over this card art is there's not really a lot to add. It's Channeler plus a spooky ghost version of Pet Dragon.
She channeled a dragon.
Yeah, she channeled a dragon. There he is. He's right there. He's a ghost. That's it. That's all you need to know.
Yep. That's literally it.
Yeah. So yeah, no, there's not really a lot else
cool.
to add there.
Like,
yeah, it's a good card art. It's got an action.
I feel like
pose.
the Harpie ladies actually get more appealing looking with like modern art design and modern, I guess, aesthetic design because they look less.
Yeah,
dated, more. They look more just.
The loose like tracing of Kaz's original art style on a lot of the old school Harpie ladies left a lot of room to be desired. And again, I don't want to like take too hard a shot at those artists because that was again the early 2000s. This was pre like the art tablet revolution. These motherfuckers were probably like literally tracing copies of the manga art onto like the master prints for the cards to send them to the printers. So
and let's be honest, they were probably having to trace, not very large panels, probably.
No, I don't actually. How big is the master drawing of a manga chapter? It's not that big. I think it's mostly to scale. So yeah. No.
The size of your hand.
Yeah, there's not a lot of detail for them to trace. So that's probably why a lot of those card arts are like really blurry, and why like those Rush Duel retrains, which are deliberately redrawn in a modern art style, look different. So Phantasmal Dragon. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, but also they might have had to do some scaling up, and in the process of upscaling,
yeah, I don't actually know how pre-digital they printed the card arts.
Look a little worse.
Usually, they just make the art bigger and then they just downscale it for the card.
So Phantasmal Dragon is a Wind rank 4 Xyz. That's a dragon. It's got 2K 2500, so it's got the same stat line as Pet Dragon, but is a rank 4. Now, Phantasmal Dragon's not as popular, though it is very doable, because it requires 3 wind monsters. So it does require you to actually swarm the board, but that is supposed to be what Harpies do. So this card's effects can only be applied / resolved while it has material. Oddly enough, very similar to the way Flare Metal Dragon works in that respect. This card can attack your opponent directly. Your opponent cannot target any Harpie monsters with effects or for attacks during each of your end phases detaching material. So Phantasmal Dragon, Mirage Dragon in the OCG is our first crack at retraining Pet Dragon to be what Pet Dragon probably should have been. It actually protects your Harpie ladies, and it has the ability to, because it's a ghost, attack your opponent directly. So the unfortunate problem is it's 3 mat and it only has 2k attack, and it doesn't have any attack modulation. It doesn't gain the attack benefit of Hunting Ground, because it's a dragon, not a winged beast. So you can't kill your opponent in the amount of turns it would take to actually run out of effect. You still got a to burn through, at least 2k of their life points another way.
Yeah. And let's also be honest, it's only a 2k. Even at the time, you could fairly easily set up for a line.
Yes, for a 3 mat rank 4, 2k is bad. Obviously, they know you're playing Harpie, so you're going to modulate that somewhat, but Harpie Lady number 1 only gives you 300, you can't apply Hunting Ground to this. It seems a little lackluster, and that's why I think it has fallen off a little bit. There are still some printings. It was, printed a couple of times. It had a recent reprint in Maximum Gold because it hadn't been reprinted since the old Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy days. But I think compared to Channeler and Dancer, you can see how Konami thought this was going to go, because this was a rare when it was originally printed, and in every subsequent reprint. They understood that this was not actually the end goal. This is just a funny thing you can do to protect your Harpie ladies while they clean up, and it frees up some zones.
Or it's a more expensive cowboy.
Cowboy.
Yeah, cowboy for game.
On the
yeah, Gaga Cowboy is what 1K? 12K? 1200, sorry, not 12K.
It's
800.
12? Yeah. Oh yeah. Cowboy
damage
only
is-
hits for 800.
Yeah.
so-
So this could, if you've got an open board state to make an attack, you could make this guy and get in for 2K to polish out a game that you've been winning. It's still a weird one. Like, I think you might play it as a one-of, just a tech option, but there's a lot of other generic shit you can do these days that flows a little better.
Yeah.
So during the
Like-
Pendulum era,
Actual cowboy. Anyway, sorry.
during the Pendulum era, Harpies didn't get much support. They got a couple more spell traps, but a lot of their dedicated legacy support that's more modern didn't come until the late Link era and on, when Konami actually went out of their way to have these sets, like the upcoming Duelist of Explosion set, where they actually go out of their way to give dedicated legacy support sets so they don't have to worry about printing shit in core sets. But in the Pendulum era, we did get Harpie Harpist. It's very funny.
But look, she's having a good time.
Yeah, she's playing the harp. I hope that's okay with her nails, but I guess it seems to be working.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wonder how she plucks the strings without cutting them, but
They must be pretty
Made
tough.
from a very specific kind of string.
Yeah, it's a nice looking harp. Obviously, again, this is the uncensored because she's wearing a tube top. Oh no. But yeah, it's. I think again, this is a good attempt at keeping with the Harpie art style. She's got a very weird like anime intro, color shadow behind herself. Like you can just imagine her sliding onto screen into the freeze frame with the colored silhouette.
Honestly, no, I feel like the bit would be like she's the one playing the opening song.
Maybe. I also, her hair is kind of doing some interesting stuff with some colors, and
It's
a
got
very
like
feathered look.
yeah, it's got the feathered phoenix effect, which I've seen in a lot of certain characters that I usually like.
Yeah.
Certain series.
She's kind of green, but she's got some different stuff. Her stockings actually have a little feather pattern. They're evolving their fashion sense.
I would also like the anklets are cool.
Yeah, she's got anklets and not just bracelets. There's
I would say
There's some
the only thing
additional
that I find weird is more just, I think she literally is just wearing a bikini bottom and then has like literally just cloth wrapped around her chest.
It's called a tube top axe. I said it already. That's what it is. Yeah. Listen, I don't know. Maybe the Harpies live somewhere warm.
I mean,
They have big feathers.
considering
They
the
are probably
sizes, I
pretty
think
warm.
it is. I think it's a warm tropical forest.
yes,
Or a mountain.
considering yes, their spell.
And by the way, in the censored version, all they did was just give her, I guess technically it's a full, torso down body stocking, and they made her tube top look bigger. So it's pretty on point. So Harpie Harpist, another great card. Winged Beast, level 4, 1700 attack, 600 defense. This card's name becomes Harpie later while on the field or in the graveyard. You can use each of these effects of Harpie Harpist once per turn. When this card is normal summoned, target one other Winged Beast monster you control and one face-up monster your opponent controls, return to the hand. During the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, add a level 4 Winged Beast with 1500 or less attack from your deck to your hand. So Harpist is another just very good card. She bounces monsters. Bouncing is very good, as anybody who's ever been hit with a Nightmare Unicorn knows. And during your end phase, she gets to search some of your stuff going on there. So Harpist is another just really good extender for your deck. Not a good starter. Honestly, I think Harpies don't really have a lot of great starters other than Channeler. Was probably something they could use. Though I guess normal summon any Harpie Lady, activate Egotist can work as a starter because that can get you 2 monsters on board. But still, got a very, very solid effect here. And then, where's my fucking... Sorry, I'm dancing. There's my notepad. So, funnily enough, it's time to talk about another vanilla. Because this one explicitly references some fun stuff. And maybe I'll pull up the card arts for a couple of other cards. But so, let's look at the card art and discuss very briefly. Phantom Griffin. I don't really think there's going to be a lot to talk about his card art, but he is a griffin. And he glows with an awesome power. Harpist? Harpist doesn't really combo with Channeler, because she has to be normal. Harpist has to be normal to use her bounce effect. It would work with the... If you can set up the line, it works with the Dancer effect. Dancer, bounce a card back to your hand, normal summon a card. That could be Harpist. And then Harpist bounces Dancer, etc. But there's still a little bit of wiggle room there. But yeah, Phantom Griffin, he's a Griffin. Pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
He came out in Crossed Souls, same as the set with Harpist. So, this card has a description. A legendary monster that dwells secretly in the mountains, fighting with the Harpies over hunting grounds. A single wing beat is said to cause the fiercest storms. And this card is almost assuredly a reference to an old-ass card, which some of you probably don't remember because it's kind of bad, called...
Featherstorm?
No,
I
Griffin
do because
Wing.
Oh,
I
right,
had a
that one.
copy of this.
The counter Feather Duster.
Yeah, so Griffin Wing is a normal trap that basically says when your opponent activates Feather Duster, negate it, destroy all spell traps your opponent controls. So it's basically like Anti-Raigeki, like White Hole. There were a couple of trap cards that were designed very specifically to counteract the activation of big certain cards. Yeah, big spell traps that were very iconic. And let me grab the Feather Duster art, at least. Hopefully everybody in chat knows what Feather Duster does. Feather Duster is Raigeki for spell traps. It's had a couple of arts over the years.
Yeah, it's like asking if Chad knows what Pot of Greed does.
Chad, do you know what
No.
Pot of Greed does?
No,
I
please.
was gonna
Asking for a
say-
friend.
No, see, you can't ask them what Pot of Greed does.
It's a plus
they'll
3.
All just, you'll all just do the meme, right, chat?
I mean, they could also say the cooler one where it's just like, it's a +3 advantage and usually you win the game.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yes, Zed, yes. If you discard Harpist to activate Channeler, yes, then she basically replaces herself at the end of the turn. So it can keep you card neutral. But yeah, so Griffin Wing is a very specific counter to Feather Duster. It negates Feather Duster and bounces it back to your opponent. It has an has a retrain technically in the form of, where is it? Griffin, what is it called? Griffin's Feather Duster? Yeah. So there's Griffin's Feather Duster. I'm not going to show you that card art. It's just the wings of this Griffin. Griffin's Feather Duster came out in Invasion of Chaos a couple sets later. It is a normal spell that says, destroy all spell traps on your side of the field, increase your life points by the number destroyed by 500. I don't think that's been super relevant because Emergency Provisions is a quick play and thus just better, but...
Yes.
And
also is 1k per, yeah.
1k per, and I think you can select, so you can...
Yes, you can choose which to
not
pop,
destroy certain ones.
and it's a quick play, so you can do it on your opponent's turn, so... Griffin Feather Duster, not really great. But yeah, so this Griffin is just kind of part of the Harpie mythos. And let's show you what Feather Duster looks like as well. It's pretty basic.
And
it's a wing, and it blows up a spell trap.
And also, it should go without saying, but all of the specific power spell counter traps are bad.
Yes, they're very bad. They don't do anything.
Like, they're blowouts if they happen.
I think the
They're
only one that
still
has
bad.
ever been meta relevant has technically been White Hole, because it is a normal trap that has hole in its name, which means it has Trap Trick synergy.
Then you also can use it just like in Dark Hole is usually common.
Yes, when your opponent plays Dark Hole, back before Raigeki got put at 3, because that's how little it fucking does. So weird.
You just make 5 you make 8 each turn usually.
No, not really. It's just that I think that most decks have evolved past the point where blowing up their entire board on your turn does it immediately. You
Look,
also need to be playing, like, Dark Ruler to negate those cards or something.
Look, you've reached the point where there are decks that don't care about Nibiru.
Which is sad, because there are decks that really do care about Nibiru.
There's also decks that just don't trigger Nibiru.
Well, that's true, but at the very least, Raigeki is still good against those decks. It's just a question of how and why. Anyway, Phantom Griffin is also very funny and relevant because it's another level 4 winged beast. It is a 2k attacker, 0 defender, so it is a werewolf type guy, even bigger than Cyber Harpie Lady and Sky Scout. I think if you were gonna play an unexpected dye line in Harpies, you would probably just play vanilla Harpie Lady.
Unless you're full up on the alternate Harpie Ladies.
Yeah, but hypothetically, he could actually have synergy because he is just a normal monster who is a big bungus. He's got the 2K stat line. And there are decks that do still revolve around them. They keep printing these guys. You know, there's Mech Knight, Avramax, and also... actually, no, it's Avram. Avramax is only his Crusadia form. But Mech Knight, Avram, and the Magic-y boy.
Yeah.
So, like, Phantom Griffin, not crazy. He also came out during this era.
You wanna know how little stats matter on a 4-star vanilla. 1919. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, if a card has no effect, it really sometimes can just be like, we don't care.
It's gotten to the point where your opponent will always have like at least 3 interactions to like pop 2 of your cards by the end of it, on average.
It might actually be in it. Well, it really depends on the deck.
Yeah.
Like, the number of interactions are not necessarily pops. There's quite a lot of like, we've gotten away from it, but for a while the major form of interaction was negation, whether that was skill drain, Baron, Borreload, etc. Like, now it's more about just like swarming and field presence and recovery. Like, that's the thing Tyr does is Tyr builds a huge board, and then anytime your opponent does with it anyway, you just like, okay, cool, I get all my shit back. I just shuffle it all back with a Shizu and we go again. But let's talk about the later era support coming out mostly in the late Link era, particularly around the legendary duelist set called Sisters of the Rose, which did have Mai on the cover. That one was themed after a lot of the more popular ladies in Yu-Gi-Oh! And included specifically more cards for Cyber Angels, Harpies, Luna Lights, and Rank 10 Trains. So, actually a pretty decent set all around. I think, considering that some of those... Well, Trains is the eternal bane of everybody at Locals. It's like Blue Eyes, where if you end up against an Earth Machine deck that can go into Rank 10 Trains and you aren't prepared, you will absolutely get your clock cleaned before you know what happens.
Listen, some of the most common links just let you do it.
It's pretty intense. Luna Light obviously has been actually meta a couple of times and is killer in certain alternate formats. Really broken in Duel Links. Was a very good deck in Duel Links. The best deck in Common Charity ever.
To the point where I think it made the format crumble.
Yeah, there's not a lot of interest in Common Charity these days, I think, because of how... we'll see how set releases producing more common prints of cards fixes that, but, like... Unless Konami is going to start releasing alternate format banned and limited list, which I understand if they don't want to do that. They probably break their brain enough trying to figure out the forbidden limited listed for one format. Yeah, it's rough. It's why, for instance, no Deckmaster events have basically ever appeared, because the Deckmaster alternate format rules as written sucks. It's just floodgates.
Yeah.
Alternatively, Time Wizard, because that is explicitly related to historical ban lists, is a well-supported format. That's just GOAT or Edison, but with official wording. Anyway, Harpies, I think, have fared the least out of all of those. Cyber Angels have been meta as a solo deck, as an engine. They were good in speed duels. Like, a lot of those cards have come back. Harpies have not really been meta since they're reprinting, but they do still have some good support. So, this is Oracle. She's very blue. Honestly, I think we can start to see a lot of the modern coloring and lines here. I like what they're doing with, like, giving them all distinct colors and themes. There's still some little nods, like she's got the little heart garters. That's a cute detail, right?
I like her hairstyling. And
yeah, it's good
she's
hair.
Got different, like, it's got a nice bracelet. Honestly, I feel like it's actually a proper idea of the Harpie leggings now, or I guess the Harpie, like, rubber.
Yeah, she's wearing the
leg guard, I guess something.
It's not really a leg guard because it's not. There's nothing armored
Yeah,
about
like
it.
heart.
It's just
It's got a heart buckle ring.
It's a
like
set of
thing.
stockings, but it's like because she has talons, there's no feet on them, so it's shaped like when I would wear shin guards for soccer. Footy to some other heathens out there. We're doing the kind of the feather splash effect. She's also got a lot of extra sparklies and details. It's good.
I feel like
She's
she's
really
like,
up their
prettier than a lot
Photoshop
of, like,
game.
I feel like Harpie Lady's eyes are actually pretty looking.
I mean, she's got. I think it's just because we've got better detail and we can give her kind of like sharper yet more minimalist features.
Yeah.
She's got some orbs she can ponder. That's cool.
She's like a loft move to say, but she's got thighs for once.
I mean, they all kind of have thighs. I didn't point this out at the time, but the Rush Duels redraw of Harpie Later also includes very slightly thicker thighs. Art has changed.
Extra thick.
I don't know if I would call Harpie Lady extra thick. They're all kind of skinny
She's just
bitches,
pleasantly
but
thick.
they're trying.
All kind of
They-
skinny
they-
bitches.
They're birds, okay?
I mean, their bones
They
are
have to
mostly
be able
hollow.
They have to be able to fly.
I know.
Which also,
like
by
how
the
to
way,
just
means
float.
that they've got immense upper body strength. Birds strong. Anyway, Harpie
Fair enough.
Oracle. If nobody else has anything to say about her.
No.
Nah.
It feels like she could be a princess just for her color scheme.
She is very blue, but a lot of Harpies have kind of their own distinct colors. Anyway, Oracle is a level 4 winged beast. Got 1300 attack, 1400 defense, so kind of flipping the script here. Though again, with the addition of Harpist, having under 1500 attack can be part of your strategy. This card's name becomes Harpie Lady on the field or graveyard. You can only use each of these following effects of Harpie Oracle once per turn. Number 1, if you control a level 5 or higher Harpie monster, special summon this card. If this card is normal or special, add a spell trap from your hand that lists specifically Harpie Lady Sisters in its text during your end phase of this turn. By the way, that is a triggered effect. Once you activate that effect is on even if this card goes away. Oracle is just a semi-generic extender. Obviously, I think the intent is to use her with you normal summon a Harpie Lady, Egotist, create Sisters, Special Oracle, gives you more Link material or Xyz material, but still works with some other cards they've got going on. And so it gives you some more extension, and she gives you a search. It is kind of interesting that much like Harpist, Oracle she searches at the end phase of your current turn, but given that Harpies do include Feather Duster and several other cards related to that in their field presence, it kind of makes sense to give them turn 2 or 3 support because they do actually have a little bit of archetypal energy on the crackback, right? And also, honestly, if she could search any fucking Harpie trap when normal or special summon, this card would be broken. Forget searching Harpie Feather Duster on normal summon. This could search Harpie Feather Storm on normal summon.
Which, if you're playing a Harpie, you can just play from your hand.
Yeah, that is why I think she is worded that way, because, as I said way at the start of this, Harpie Lady spell traps are fucking broken. Honestly, that may be why Harpies haven't gotten their killer monster support, because their spell trap suite is fucking cracked. I say this as a guy who has feather-stormed people in our Prog series. It's very rude.
As I was saying, the Harpies are weird in that there are a bunch of magic ladies living in a mountain that just have a bunch of super powerful magic items.
I guess. Maybe they ate some
They
dudes that got them.
They stole the nice shinies.
This is Harpie Lady Perfumer. Once again, big 80s vibe is back.
He's got Mai's face.
Yeah, it is kind of the same face structure as Mai. Very different hairstyle, though. I like it, though, because she's got the, bird feather streak in it, but also big poofy.
Just literally Jim.
Yeah. She's got, the more complex top, but she's definitely wearing the, yoga pants with her leggings under it kind of a thing. You can see the bottle of perfume. It looks neat. However, she's a perfume lady. Don't do that in real life. I'll do something. I don't like perfumes. It agitates my sinuses.
I don't know why,
Oh,
but
no.
I feel like she has a kind of shrill voice, but I don't know.
Okay, I'll make a set of thing. I have to go find it quickly.
No, you're gonna find a gif about fucking perfume somehow. Damn you and your archetypal knowledge. Oh, okay. It's the SpongeBob gif. Yeah, that's really good. That's me all the time.
No, Omega, trust me, I'm the same way. I hate going through the perfume department. My nose can't handle it.
No, I've always had a really bad sinus reaction to like strong, perfumey type scents. Whatever they put in those to like make them work, melts my brain holes.
I think usually oils.
Probably.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, no. If people don't get this, the fact that this is called Harpie Perfumer, one of my things was, while she was obviously a very talented duelist, like a lot of people who were not protagonists, unless you count certain mystical powers of friendship and stuff,
and ancient pharaohs.
The draw of destiny is... That's kind of an Airbud thing, and also very obscure about how conscious that is. But Mai, like a lot of people in Yu-Gi-Oh, cheated. She would spray her cards with different perfumes and identify them by scent.
Ironically,
to appear psychic.
I remember people talk. I watched this series where people actually talked about this, where it's like, honestly, they would have just mixed together, and it would have actually just made your deck smell, and you wouldn't actually helped you at all.
No, I mean, yeah, Mai would have to actually
like
be superhuman to make that work, which is funny.
Yes.
You just marked your cards with like dabs of different colored perfume or something.
Well, yeah, but then you can identify them. It had to be scent based. Like, it's a cool idea for like a fiction, but it wouldn't work in real life. As opposed to like, say, Esperoba in Battle City, who literally just used some guys with some fucking binoculars because you're just dueling in the streets, man.
I think that's also a reference literally to a theory the guys had when they were trying to figure out like Pegasus' whole thing. Is that they thought of his guards were just like looking at like from another building.
Yeah, I think they did actually. You're right. I think that was actually a comment.
I just remember that from like my childhood. Of, like that was a scene that they thought was happening, but not true.
No, because Pegasus also used psychic powers to probably cheat, or ancient Egyptian
just read
magic.
your mind.
So Perfumer is a level 4 winged beast. She's got 14, 13. She's wind also. Her name becomes Harpie Lady on the field or in the graveyard. If this card is normal or special, add a spell trap from your deck to your hand that specifically lists Harpie Lady Sisters in its text. So again, trying to make it so you can't just search Harpie spell traps. If you controlled a level 5 or higher Harpie monster, when you activated this effect, you can add a second such card with a different name from the list. You can use this effect to Perfumer once per turn. So you are noticing this is why you play the copies of Sisters and Modern Harpies. Harpies are starting to check for higher level monsters, which is not something they were able to do really easily, so you have to kind of play the Sisters Egotist line.
Ironically, it made it when they got like their synchro, it actually worked out really well for them.
Yes, because their synchro is a level 8, so that was a very logical synergy to make a lot more of their cards work a lot easier.
I think it's why I think they got a synchro instead of more Xyz cards on us, or a link, because it works
yeah, I
more.
think that's why they decided not to go give them, like, because there is obviously a link upcoming because these cards were still printed while it was still MR4, and when you are ostensibly a rank 4 or rank 7 spam deck, you need to be able to actually make more than one Xyz monster to make that work. But I think you are right in that probably why Cyber Slash is the way she is because they needed a way to give Harpies another high-level monster, possibly in their extra deck, and not be a brick, because so many of their cards are checking for high-level ones. So, we're getting pretty close to that, actually. Let's talk about the link. It's time for Harpie Conductor.
You know what they should do just for shits and giggles? Harpie Tour Guide.
I mean, it'd be cool.
I mean, Harpies are 4s, not 3s. But honestly, if you just did Channeler but without the discard effect, only on normal summon, like Tour Guide style, that'd probably be okay.
I was also thinking about, like, maybe not call it Tour Guide, but I guess like Harpie Traveler or Harpie Guide. It worked just 2.
Here is Harpie Conductor. I like this one a lot. They're doing some fun stuff with the costuming. Like,
I wish she had like a scrunched up like feather duster to hold like a baton.
Yeah, I was just thinking that when you said I wish. I'm like, he's gonna say something about a baton, because I kind of feel like that is missing.
Yeah, I do appreciate her outfit style though, at the very least, compared to the other Harpies.
It's very like, this is what she would wear if she was actually going to like a symphony.
They've really upped their fashion game. That's the card we need. We need Harpie's fashion house.
Honestly,
Harpie's haberdashery.
Harpie Weaver.
That would also work. That would work as a new monster. I'm just thinking of like, as we've noted through the years, chat, the Harpies are very fashion conscious. Like, they know what they're doing with their style choices, and
honestly,
somebody's making this shit.
If they ever made cooler, if they could have made different iterations of equip spells, I feel like they could have made like Harpies have a whole outfit aesthetic going for them.
Honestly, they could. I think just the reason they aren't is because Konami can't decide whether equip cards are dead or not. Look at Mikanko, which is all about weird ritual summoning into
continuous effect spells,
into equip cards. Well, they still do equipping and stuff.
There's also Puri, yeah.
Puri's, as usual, the deck build packs are fun. By the way, expect Mikanko to be relevant in Master Duel, because that's probably going to come out all in one big blob, and it's really good in a best-of-1 format when your opponent can't prepare for it.
I hate that.
Man, if only they could add in.
You ready to get
like,
Snatch Sealed?
Format.
They really should,
No.
even if it's for an
But they
event.
have casual format,
Please
so
put it on
why
a
not
match
just
format.
have matches?
Gonna
for point rank?
continue writing my Pendulum Magician fucking Village of the Spellcasters.
That, I mean, hey, if you get Village of the Spellcasters to go off, that works. I think Mikanko is a blind second deck.
Am I wrong of being like when Loft says like I don't think that deck wins much? Or is that just
I
being
mean, it's
asked?
best
I
of
don't know.
one. If you can get Secret Village of the Spellcasters to proc, and your opponent doesn't know how to out it, that's Mystic Mine, right? Like that's
Fair.
It's a thing. Anyway, Conductor, good. I like a lot of the stuff we're going on here. I don't really know why she's a Link other than she's kind of purple and glowy. Like I guess it just works because they need a Link. They decided to make this one the Link. She's got kind of a glowing and a mirage-y one in there, so like they're doing some funny stuff. But yeah, Harpie Conductor is a Link too. She is a wind-winged beast. You could argue that she's kind of like supposed to be a side grade or a retrain of Queen because she also has 1900. So decent stats for a Link too. She's semi-generic, just 2 wind monsters. Card name becomes Harpie Lady on the field or graveyard, so it is easy to reborn her. You can use each of the following effects of Conductor once per turn, so pretty normal stuff. Number 1. If a Harpie monsters you control be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy a spell trap you control instead. Again, this relates into that theme we're going to talk about in a little bit with some of their spell traps, about how you will intentionally be blowing up your own spell traps and get pluses off that. If another face-up Harpie monster you control returns to the hand except during the damage step, target a special summon monster your opponent controls returning to the hand. So Conductor makes your bounce strategy work with both, what was it? You've got Harpist has a bounce, and I think it's Harpist, and trying to find my fucking notepad. There it is. Dancer's like self-bouncing effect. You can string those together to actually like get rid of multiple special summon guys. Not perfect, but bouncing is very good. And in that case, it's basically like a pocket unicorn. So is a very solid addition to the deck. This is good legacy support Link 2s. And while I appreciate while it is generic, it is absolutely useless outside of a Harpie deck. Again, really good legacy support card. This isn't a extra deck boss, but it's good to give you something to fucking take some action on. So there's 2 really, really new cards. Let's talk about, I guess Slash should go first because she technically came out first. By the way, since they're in the anime and manga a lot, Harpies are, you may have noticed, a fucking magnet for promo cards. I believe Cyber Slash Harpie Lady was also originally a promo. Let me see, in the OCG, she was in a special pack as an ultra rare. Also, by the way, continuing the terrible naming convention some of these girls have in the OCG. Her OCG name is Harpie Lady Scratch Clash.
What the? Oh god.
In all in English, by the way. Harpie Lady Scratchu Crashu. I don't remember if Scratch Crash was like the name of her special attack.
So that sounds like an English way of just saying a descriptor.
Cyber Slash obviously is, I think, the actual name of her attack in the dub.
Yeah, that sounds
works
familiar.
better.
It's literally a revamp of like the original Harpie Sisters art.
Yeah, this
Harpie
is
Lady.
Cyber Harpie Lady, but this was drawn in 2020, so it's better. She's got better proportions. She's got better lines in her face.
Weird.
Yeah, her face looks better.
It's also
She
How
still
about
has
this?
the
It's
boom
not-
spikes.
Oh yeah,
I would
that's the
say
original art.
it's got like it's gold or like, I guess bronze, depending.
Bronze kneecap.
But it's bronze like the original Harpie Sisters art, where it's like,
Yeah, which is what the Cyber Shield or Cyber Bondage looked like. It was metallic colored. She's got her big claws, but like everything works. She's got some slightly different coloring, but it's still Harpie Lady, but in like a new cool way. It's good.
Oh yeah, no, it's a good art.
So Harpie, Cyber/Harpie Lady is a winged beast synchro. She is level 8. She has 2600 attack, 1400 defense. Not the best for a sync 8, but still decent. You know, can outpunch a Stardust Dragon. And so she is a generic synchro. But also, for this card's synchro summon, you can treat one Harpie monster you control as a tuna. This card's name becomes Harpie Lady while on the field or in the graveyard. When a spell or trap card effect, when a spell, trap card, or effect is activated, except during the damage step, quick effect. Target an opponent your monster controls or a Harpie monster you control, return it to the hand. You can only use this effect of Cyber/Harpie Lady once per turn. So, hey, while this is once per turn, remember what's a spell trap effect that's activated that's not once per turn that happens when you normally special a Harpie Lady?
Hunting ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you synchro summon Cyber/, that means she activates a bounce off your hunting ground. In subsequent turns, if you activate hunting ground, you turn it, / will bounce. If you do fucking anything, / starts bouncing. This is a really good card. And again,
yes.
like we said earlier, that first line of text, you don't need to play any weird tuners in your deck. You just play Harpies, and they suddenly become tuners.
You trying
And
to
they're
do a
all
thing?
fours.
That's
about it.
Yeah, that's a genius way of handling legacy support synchros for decks
Yeah.
that didn't have tuners before.
And
try
obviously,
to
there
explain
are
that, yeah.
some cases where they made it work. Like, I think the actual integration of the Eyes of Blue line into Blue Eyes with all those, like, 1- and 2-star tuners. Mostly ones, because that's where
Yeah.
the actual ones are. But I think they got some different levels in there.
That,
That worked because they designed a whole archetype around that. But
Yes.
Harpie, as a one-off promo card, just being like, hey, we need more high-level Harpie monsters. How do we do that? Oh, shit, what if we just made a synchro that doesn't need tuners, but also could use a tuner if you felt like it? It's good.
so
It's
yeah,
real good.
You could make Harpie slash here outside of a Harpie deck, but
Yeah.
why would you?
Yeah, she's not great in it. I think it's mostly just so you could, if you wanted to, you could play good tuners in your Harpie deck. I don't really know which ones would
That's true,
mesh
too.
best, but if
Yeah.
you
Birdman.
needed them, Birdman might work. Ally just as Birdman.
No, I was trying to think of that one Gen X, but ally, but
Yeah, Gen X Ally Birdman.
Oh,
Remember, Harpie Lady is completely generic. The worst part is, I believe, Ally Birdman is a level 3, but he does bounce your cards to summon himself, so you could probably make that work.
the other minor problem is he's in dark. That doesn't necessarily mesh well with anything that the Harpies are trying to do, but
It's true, that
Well-
means he's not wind, but you can, I think, still get around that. You're playing enough monsters.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't think it's ideal, but, like, you can do some stuff.
yeah, you can make it work.
And also, so speaking of the glow-ups, it's time. Your boy has returned. If the fucking internet will let me copy and paste correctly. So, this is Harpie's Pet Dragon Fearsome Fire Blast, a.k.a. Harpie's Pet Dragon Saint Fire Giga, which was its original attack name in Japanese.
It's skinny, yet it doesn't look anorexic. It looks like it's just
Yeah, he just looks more
Birdie.
serpentine, slim, bird-like, yeah.
it's got muscle though, so like it looks
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it still could rend you in half actually now instead of just looking
Again,
like you
this
just
is
break it.
this is a card literally from last year.
Yeah.
So-
I think about that, but yeah, it's relative recent.
Like, the card art is much improved, lots more detail. It's an action shot now. He's doing the actual Fearsome Fire Blast. He's doing the thing. Looks good. Thumbs up. Good boy.
I'm surprised a dragon of that style can produce a fire blast that big, but
Well, it is fearsome.
true.
So, Harpie's Pet Dragon, Fearsome Fireblast, is a level 7 wind dragon of level 7. It's got the same stat line as the original Harpie Pet Dragon, so it's 2k25.
Something 7-7. Sorry.
First line of text: monsters cannot target level 6 or lower Harpie monsters for attacks. So it doesn't protect Cyber Slash, but all your other Harpies are protected from attacks. An effect that the original Harpie's Pet Dragon probably should have had, but did not. You can only use each of the following effects of Fearsome Fireblast once per turn. If you control a level 6 or lower wind monster, special summon this card from your hand in defense position. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, send a winged winged beast monster from your deck to the graveyard. So, lets you graveyard setup, which actually matters, like I said, for certain cards that involve Harpies. Lets you special summon.
I was gonna say you can send. It was Dancer, right?
No, it's Harpist who searches when she's in the graveyard.
Oh, Harpist, yeah.
Yeah. So you can bin Harpist, you can do lots of other stuff, you can do graveyard setups for reborning, because Harpies have a lot of reborning effects.
Yeah, they do.
And again, remember how Channeler works. Channeler is a level 7 while you control a dragon, so you can do all kinds of weird setups with this. Also, again, Tempest is Dragon Ruler Tempest. Is an unofficial member of the Harpie archetype. He is a wind dragon who is level 7. And the fact that you can still play him at 1, well, again, if you want to access your ranked 7 pool, I don't think you can play just Tempest. You absolutely play your 1 legal copy of Tempest in a Harpie Lady deck if you're playing it, because it continues your rank 7 plays and gives you more boys. And, stuff like that.
It's a case of why wouldn't you?
I mean, he's a one-of, yeah. So, let me start looking at Harpie spell traps and see if any of them have good card arts to pull up. But we were talking about a few of them.
Is it like Rest or Resort or something? I think
there's Rest, yeah, is one of them. That, I think Axe talked about that one earlier. So let's go ahead and grab
either
that
Rest and Mirror Split were the interesting ones to me.
Yeah, Mirror Split is probably another one I would pull up. So let's start with Feather Rest, since I grabbed that one first. This is the uncensored art. But yeah, Feather Rest. They're just chilling. This is like the Amazon S Hot Spring card that actually came out recently.
I got that impression, honestly, when I saw the Hot Spring card.
Yeah. This is a very new card. It's originally printed in Sister of the Rose, so this is some of their very modern support, but it's a good one. So, this card says, target 3 Harpie Lady and or Harpie Lady Sisters in your graveyard. Remember, almost all of your Harpie monsters are Harpie Lady in the graveyard. Shuffle them back into your deck, draw 1. If you control a level 5 or higher Harpie monster when you activated this effect, draw 2. For the rest of this turn, if this card revolves, you can't special summon except wind monsters. You can only activate Feather Rest once per turn. So, yeah, Feather Rest is just... That's your 5th Hope, your, Pot of Avarice type effect. You just get to cycle your Harpie Ladies and draw, and again, since they've added shit like Cyber Slash and so on, it's a draw 2. This is a really good card. The only thing it needs is it requires 3 Harpie Ladies in your graveyard, but again, every monster you have counts, almost every monster you have counts as Harpie Lady.
I will say one thing is, this is maybe consider Harpies just have their hands, their arms just reach basically their knees.
Yeah, they just have long arms. They also have long legs, though. They're stretching. Okay, so let's... sure, let's do Alluring Mirror Split again. That is... Alluring Mirror Split's one of those cards. It, again, was one of the newer ones that came out in Sisters of the Rose, but...
I remember it so because we got so many copies of it in circulation.
Yeah. But it is absolutely a card that is Konami understands how Harpie Ladies work. They understand your weaknesses. So here's the card art. Actually, let me just properly delete Feather Rest first. Alluring Mirror Split. Again, kind of a play on how Kaleidoscope Elegant Egotist works. It's a series of mirrors with their little feather patterns, and it's just a bunch of the different Harpie Ladies. You've got, Cyber. You've got Queen. You've got Channeler. You've got Dancer. You've got Perfumer. And in the back, the boy is there. He's waiting.
The drag.
Honestly, it makes me feel like the thing about they're all one, or is it more they're layered on top of each other?
I think honestly it's just they have access to magic that lets them go through stuff.
And the fun thing is, you can't see it for Cyber, but going along, you got the different feather colors for each one.
Yeah, I like a lot of this, the way this one works. It is an interesting art. So Alluring Mirror Split is a continuous spell trap. When a Harpie Lady or Harpie Lady's sisters you control is destroyed by battle, special summon a Harpie from your deck with a different original name than the destroyed monster. If this card you control is destroyed by a Harpie card's effect or your opponent's card effect, target a Harpie in your graveyard, special summon it. You can only use each of Alluring Mirror Split once per turn. So Mirror Split is turns all of your Harpie Ladies into recruiters, basically, which lets you cycle them out really fast. And if your opponent decides to pop it, or you yourself pop it with a Hunting Ground, with a Conductor, etc., you actually get to reborn a Harpie. Any Harpie monster. So again, they have a lot of rebirth effects. I won't pull up the card art because it's really boring, but we should at least say what Featherstorm does. Featherstorm is a normal trap. If you control a winged beast monster, there's a lot of woo in there. Until the end of this turn, negate any monster effects your opponent activates. If you control a Harpie monster, you can activate this card from your hand. If this card in its owner's spell trap zone is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, add a Feather Duster from your deck or graveyard to hand. Featherstorm is a motherfucker of a card.
Yes.
There is a Featherstorm sees play in just winged beast decks. You see this shit teched into Flunder. Into Flunder-Rees. But again, if you have if you're actually playing a Harpie deck, you get to play it from your hand, and not a lot of decks can really survive.
Why am I'm forgetting
having all
the
of their
name
monster
of
effects negated in the draw phase?
The rank 1 bird deck. I'm forgetting the name of them.
Lyrilless.
Lyrilless, yeah.
I don't think Lyrilless works because they're not all wins either. Or
They're not all wins, but I believe all of their Xyz are, so you could set that up too.
Yeah.
Like, nah, this is just fucking brutal. A brutal card. And then add to the fact that, like, if you actually set it, you get to search Feather Duster. Like, I know that's not an OP effect by any means, but there's a reason why Feather... Sorry. Let me take a drink of water. Ran out of juice. Swing over one. Yes, Feather Duster's still limit 1, while Regeki is unlimited.
And it's because, you know, time being a flat circle, we have returned to the days of your spell trap effects are kind of cracked.
They're very important. Let's see. There's another one that's really interesting. Yeah, I like the card art for this one. Because this, I think... Actually didn't remember the name of this card, but you remembered its card art because you were talking about Channeler actually summoning a guy. So let me grab that one.
I might have, but...
This card... this is another thing ever since Elegant Egotist. There's a reason why Harpie Lady cards usually search spell traps that reference sisters, because a lot of them have funny names that don't make sense. This is Hysteric Sign.
Oh, right, Hysteric Sign.
Yeah.
This is where...
which does involve Channeler fucking summoning a dragon.
I'm amazed that there is no, like, floating collar to go with it.
She hasn't put the collar on him yet. She's still channeling. Hysteric Sign's another continuous spell trap. When it's activated, add an Elegant Egotist from your deck or graveyard to hand. So this is usually why you only play one Elegant Egotist. During the end phase, if this card's in your graveyard because it was sent there from the hand or field this turn, add up to 3 Harpie cards with different names from your deck to your hand. This includes Feather Duster, by the way.
Yep.
You can only use each effective Hysteric Sign once per turn. Now, it's only an end phase, but still, no. Again, Harpies, crazy spell traps. This is just, if you activate this, add an Elegant Egotist. Blow it up with your own Hunting Ground. In your end phase, add 3 Harpie cards. Fucking bonkulous.
And because it's already in the graveyard, that makes it very, very hard to do anything about.
Yeah, the only thing you can do is if you have shit like, I believe Abyss Dweller specifically counters that, and some other cards that prevent activation in graveyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, Necrovalley. No, Necrovalley doesn't negate effects in graveyard. It only negates things that move from graveyard.
Oh, no.
Though I think at one point Necrovalley might have. It is the most eroded card in the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, remember how the Harpie Lady, the 3 different Harpie Ladies looked kind of funny? Triangle Ecstasy Spark.
Oh, right.
We're back. We're back here. This was their special attack in the anime. It's still kind of derpy.
It's like something like it's like super ecstasy or something. So it's like literally just BDSM Ray.
Yeah.
No,
BDSM Ray.
I want to see.
Anyway.
I want to see the game struggle between this and the Aljamas.
There's probably some funny there.
Yeah, no, they
So,
both have
Triangle
some,
Ecstasy
don't they?
Spark is, again, a fucking old card. This was printed in the Rise of Destiny in 04, so it's been around a long time.
Yeah.
I think it is actually still possibly relevant. Not normally main decked, but is good in certain matchups. I have used it before in my side deck. Ecstasy Spark is a normal spell that says, until the end of this turn, the attack of all Harpie Lady Sisters on the field becomes 2,700. Your opponent cannot activate any trap cards, also negate all of your opponent's trap effects on the field.
27.
Yeah.
I guess 9 times 3?
I don't know if it's why it's specifically 27. That might have been their power with, like, the field power bonus in the anime.
Maybe.
Something like that. It's definitely an anime callback, but yeah, it's their big special attack, their triangle attack. 2,700 is better than 1950. And it does, it cancels trap cards and so on and so forth. So it can be useful. I don't think it's a big deal, as big of a deal now. But again, because you're probably playing Egotist and Sisters, it's definitely a side deck option. If your opponent was running a trap-heavy deck, you can just be like, no. They have another special super attack card. Nah, I won't pull up the card art for Phoenix Formation. It's not really... It's just a weird Phoenix sigil. But Phoenix Formation is another normal trap. If you control 3 or more Harpie Lady and or Harpie Lady Sisters, target as many monsters your opponent controls as possible, but not more than the total number of Harpie Lady and Harpie Lady Sisters you control. Destroy those targets. If you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the highest original attack among those destroyed monsters, your choice if tied. You cannot special summon monsters from the main deck or extra deck, nor conduct your battle phase the turn you activate this card. So, Phoenix Formation is another card that's not super popular, I don't think, anymore, because it blocks you out of the battle phase. But it can absolutely be used to clean up your opponent's board and punch for game if they've got big attack on board that you can actually destroy. I don't think I like this one as much as Ecstasy Spark because, again, it takes away the battle phase. You need that to win the game, but still, very strong. Let me see. I'm just scoping out the last ones. Let's see. We talk about Featherstorm, Feather Rest, Feather Duster, Phoenix Formation. Haven't talked about Elegance. Don't really need to see... actually, I don't know. I might want to show the card to Elegance just to compare to this one. So, this is the trap card, Harpie Lady Elegance, which came out much later than Triangle Ecstasy Spark, etc.
It's the Harpie Sister art, but actually looks good.
Yes. It's the Harpie Sister art, but we reprinted...
Three's hair actually looks nice.
We printed this card in the year 2019.
Like, their hair actually... They actually have, like, good-looking hair.
Yeah, no. It's funny how that works out, but yes. So art-wise, I think it might have something interesting to show, because it's the Harpie Ladies. Elegance is a weird card. It's a normal trap. Shuffle a Harpie Lady Sisters from your monster zone into the deck. Then you can summon 3 Harpie monsters with different original names, 1 each from your hand, deck, or graveyard. For the rest of this turn, you can't special summon except win monsters. If this card is destroyed by a Harpie's card effect, or your opponent's card effect, add a Harpie monster from your deck to your hand. You can use each effect once per turn. I've had a really hard time triggering Elegance as a normal trap, because you need Harpie Lady Sisters. I don't think it's really great, but it does kind of continue all the themes. And art-wise, it's really interesting to look at it and be like, oh, hey, this is what happens if we draw this card art, but good. Here is another funny one in that vein. Hysteric Party. I think this one still has some issues with some distances. Some of the girls in the back look a little clumsily drawn. That might just be the upscaling, because this is the Master Duel version.
I think they're like... They're literally just summoning each other and then summoning... Yeah. They're just chain summoning themselves.
Yo, is that the Seal of Lord Calcos?
It might be. I don't know. This is actually an earlier card. The original printing of this was in Lord of the Storm. But Hysteric Party is still played to this deck, because as somebody said, this is an in-archetype Soul Charge. It's a continuous trap card. You activate this card by discarding a card. Special summon as many copies of Harpie Lady as possible from your graveyard. When this card leaves the field, destroy those monsters. So, yeah, no, it takes a long time to set up, but you can just discard 1 and go +4.
So here's a weird thought. So what if you just milled half your deck as Harpies?
I don't know if Harpie Lady, like, Grass's Greener builds were ever played, but they've got enough names you could make that work.
I doubt these fusion cards would ever work either, but it's because
it's because they're Earths and stuff. I don't think there's synergy there, but, like, hypothetically, you could make a mill resistant. The problem would just be making sure you don't accidentally yeet Harpie Lady's Harpie Hysteric Party. Hysteric Party is non-searchable because it doesn't have Harpie in its name and it doesn't mention sisters. I don't know if I don't think there was one that just mentions Harpie Lady searches.
Is it searchable by all the other spell trap? No, it's not. It wouldn't be.
No, it's Hysteric Party and it doesn't mention sisters, so it's a little rough. I think that's why it's not searchable, because it's a fucking soul charge, but you probably still play some.
Ah, yes, by the way, in case you guys haven't yet, it's past daily reset time.
Yes, everybody log into FGO. I think that is all of them.
Oh, is it?
You just birded I'm double checking. Hunting Ground, Phantasmal. Yeah. There's still one funny thing I want to pull up. Konami in Japan, like a lot of Konami's Yu-Gi-Oh brand, I should say, like a lot of brands in Japan, actually does like weird collabs and partnerships.
Oh no, what did they do?
Very Japanese.
So this is a crossover promo card called Power Pro Lady Sisters. It is a crossover with Power Pros, which is a is it a gacha game? I don't know. But they did do. Hold on, I'm looking. Power Pros, known as GQ Power Pro. It's a baseball video game series created by Konami. So it's actually one of Konami's own series.
Yeah, because like there's like a tiny little batter kid in one of the person's arms, and like everyone's got a bat.
Yeah. And they actually, I can tell you what they do. They've got 3 good friends from Power Pro. They dance gracefully on the field with their passion for baseball. One of them is named Aoi Hayakawa. She's the series' first female player. She's an underhand pitcher, and her move is the Marine Ball. Then you've got Mizuki Tachibana, a tomboyish and spirited pitcher. Her signature move is Crescent Moon. And then lastly, Hijiri Yukido, a catcher with unmatched baseball talent, best friends with Mizuki. So, like, these are just different characters from the baseball series Power Pros. Since Konami owns Power Pros, there's no reason why they couldn't release this in English. It just wouldn't do anything. Because, I mean, the series is over here. They're a normal monster, I should say. They're a vanilla winged beast level 6 that has the stat line of Harpie Lady Sisters. So they're not, like, useful at all. It's just funny. But Konami does occasionally do these things, and I kind of wish they would release them because they're cute.
Just old art of Harpie Lady Sisters.
But yeah, so to that end, I think that means that it's in the place where I said I would talk about.
Also, in this art, it doesn't have the nipple spikes.
Yeah, I think it's because they're. Some of them are. They've got like slightly different costumes. I think some of them are supposed to be dressed slightly more like they could actually play baseball. I don't know if you can catch a baseball very easily with nipple spikes.
Oh, that's a baseball.
That's a baseball. Jaggers.
Thank you, Omega.
Yeah, it'd be like that. But yeah, so I wanted to talk a little bit about like where Harpies could go. Like I said, out of a lot of those archetypes that have been given legacy support, while they're indefinitely a workable place, I don't think they're really stacking up next to the meta. Like obviously, if you want to play Winged Beast, out of legacy support sets, decks like Lyralisk and even brand new archetypes like Flundereeze work much better. I think there is room for possibility to be good. If anything, I think that they've got a really good main deck lineup. They've got crazy good spell traps, all the monsters you could use, and there's still plenty of room. Like, how many easy you actually got? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17? Yeah, there's like 17 different names who go in the main deck. Obviously, you wouldn't play some of those, but like, you know, that's more than you could actually use reasonably. 17 times 3 is 51, so like, you have plenty of main deck monsters. They probably need to expand on their extra deck a little. I think a synchro version of Pet Dragon might be good, or giving them an actual, like, in-archetypic Seas monster, whether that's a rank 7 or a rank 4, that's not, like, just a kind of a weird cowboy card, like something that actually does something, might actually make you want to play Harpies as, like, an engine, because obviously they can access generic Wind Links, you know, generic rank 4s, generic rank 7s and stuff, but why would you play a Harpie engine over another deck, right? Like, and I think, honestly, the key there is something that I'm really shocked Konami has never done, but we will probably eventually do a Red Eyes episode because I love Red Eyes Black Dragon to death, even though it's never been good ever. But the way Konami has handled building Red Eyes as an archetype is almost entirely based around turning other monsters Joey used into Red Eyes cards.
Yes.
Red Eyes Archfiend of Lightning to make, you know, with Summon Skull to make that count to fill, like, the Black Skull Dragon type stuff. Red Eyes Gearfried, Red Eyes Baby Dragon.
Do we have a Red Eyes Guildford yet?
No, we probably should. That might actually give you another guy. That would work with the Slash variant of the deck.
Honestly, the weirdest thing about Red Eyes is that it's limited by it being connected to Joey instead of just being its own aesthetic.
Well, yeah, but that's everything. Like, the Dark Magicians don't really stray far from the Dark Magician tree. It's just that. Go ahead.
I was about to say, man, we don't have Red Eyes dice. I'm like, no, that's a Speedway card.
Red-eyed dice, yeah, that would be funny. I mean, you could make it Red Eyes Skull dice or Red Eyes Graceful dice. They do a lot of spell traps and stuff that work out there. Red Eyes Legendary Fisherman would be pretty funny, yeah. Red Eyes Jinzo. Red Eyes Insect Queen.
Fortress Whale.
Well, no, he played Legendary Fisherman, not Fortress Whale.
Oh, right.
But, like I said, Joey did actually briefly use Harpies, and I'm going to be honest with y'all. Out of the rank 7 pool, obviously in certain contexts, Dracosac is good, Big Eye can be good, you know, everything like that. Diablos is the Mind Hacker came out way later. But Red Eyes Flare Metal is not a bad card to make with Harpies. He's immune to destruction, and he burns the fuck out of your opponent.
Yes.
So this is something I've said I've always thought, not only because Joey played a Monster Mash deck and always did, but it was actively a theme of his with cards like Grave Robber and shit like that to take his opponent's cards and use them against them. So I really think they should have expanded Red Eyes with Slash Dragon into more like weird Red Eyes fusions that are generic. Like make, for instance, a Red Eyes Harpies Pet Dragon that's, you know, one Red Eyes monster plus a Winged Beast monster kind of a thing. That's kind of what I would dream of for Red Eyes support. And give them an invocation-style fusion so you can banish monsters from your opponent's graveyard to do the fusion, and I don't have to stop summoning at one monster, please. Red Eyes Fusion is so bad if you can't play Dragoon, guys. Oh my god.
You just need a new fusion card.
That would honestly do a lot if they actually fucking retrained Red Eyes Fusion. It's so... Compared to the shit... as usual... Compared to the amount of Blue Eyes Dragon Dick sucking Konami does, compared to Ultimate Fusion, Red Eyes Fusion is so bad. Ultimate Fusion like shuffles back and pops. What the fuck?
It's awful.
Why can't you get something like Thunder Dragon Fusion? That'd be great.
And also I would say this. I think there could actually be room for Red Eyes synergy with Harpies. Like Harpies, like Red Eyes, you cannot keep them in the graveyard. You've seen this. They have several reborn effects. Red Eyes is all about dumping your vanillas into the graveyard just to special summon them. Like, there is actually, I think, a lot of synergy that would go there. As characters, Mai and Joey are very popular. I think there's some room there that they could do some funny crossover stuff. And regardless of if they actually did the Red Eyes synergy, which I admit, like I said, it's a little selfish for me. I like more Red Eyes cards. In general, I think Harpies need more extra deck monsters that make sense, that are not generic. You need a reason to play Harpies, so that probably means they need their own rank 7, or they need their own, like, Link 3 or Link 4. You know. Hell, give him, like a Link 4 that's just, like, all the Harpie ladies at once.
Kingdom?
Yeah, something like that. Harpie Kingdom, you know, Harpie Army, whatever.
Harpie Queen's Guard.
Yeah, just a reason to put them all together and, like, you know, give them a way to actually do some stuff that wins the game, because that's, I think, where a lot of their weakness is. They have phenomenal spell traps that can really control the game. They've got great resource recycling. There's just no good way to end a game with Harpies, and that's their problem, because you can just play other engines.
It's a scenario of where I think about it, where it's like people talk about, it's like, so the deck's cool, so but how do you win?
Yeah, that happens a lot in Yu-Gi-Oh! There are so many cool like, this is like basically every deck build
look at
pack.
Ghost Trick. It's like, so how do you win again besides milling your opponent after like 50 turns?
Yeah, I mean, Ghost Trick, the Ghost Trick problem is they actually have like 4 different ways to win, and each of them requires a radically different build.
Yeah.
Because you have So Cute Boss for the alternate win con. No, Angel of Mischief, sorry, for the alternate win con. You can do Skeleton Mill. You can do Wolf Burn. Or you can just do weird flip battle damage.
Problem is like 2 of those strategies aren't good though.
No, not really. They
the other
tried,
2 are,
but...
like require very specific luck.
And this again is like why I think Harpie and Red Eyes and even Dark Magician are in a really weird place where, like, Konami has given them oodles and oodles of support, but because they don't have secure win cons, it's hard to play. I think the closest Dark Magician has come is Illusion of Chaos. That's still not in Master Duel.
I was about to ask, did we ever get like that new Chaos basic Blackluster Soldier Dark Magician card that was like a Link monster, like was like reverse board breaker?
Did we actually get that guy?
Because that was like the last card. It was like one of the last cards we talked about during that failed Portrayal. I just don't remember if that came out yet.
I don't think it did, because Illusion of Chaos is just the weird Dark Magician.
That's the actual
ritual
one,
region.
yeah.
Let me look at the list of
that.
Dark Magician cards, because there's always one after that. Because there's the you know, Piercing the Darkness, which is in Master Duel and helps a lot. Arguably, you can play that in Red Eyes as well, because it supports normal monsters. But like I said, Dark Magician's in such a weird case, so much so that they had to give them an archetypal fusion spell that's also an archetypal ritual spell, Secrets of Dark Magic, because they're like, fuck it, we can't pick.
Yeah.
Okay, no, los dos.
And honestly, that should probably just be Dark Magician's gimmick, other than all of their trap cards. Holy shit, they've got so many trap cards.
They got a lot of traps and spells. Also, by the way, print Magi Magician Gal.
They never win at this point.
It would have been nice to have during the era she came out.
I mean, now I think we just got to print it because it's listen, it's a
Kaz that needs to be public.
Yeah, it's a Kaz art that they should actually like put out, please. It'd be cool. What the fuck is chat? Do you guys know that guy's name?
Which guy?
The guy Axe is talking about. That's like the.
Like, it's an actual card. We know.
That's the fusion of like
Blackluster Soldier,
and Dark Magician. It's the guy who's on Piercing the Darkness. I just don't know remember what his fucking name is. Because there's 9 million Dark Magician adjacent cards. No, it's not that guy. It's not any of those guys. I'm pretty sure that's a real boy.
Dark Paladin.
Is it Dark Paladin on that fucking...
That's Dark Magician plus Buster Blader.
I mean, Piercing Darkness does look like Black Paladin. I could have sworn there was a...
I think a link or something. I think it was.
Wasn't there supposed to... No, I'm not crazy. There was because there was Black Luster support, which is Chaos support, in that Animation Chronicle.
Yeah, like, I'm remembering the card. It existed. We talked about it.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Master of Chaos?
Master of Chaos. Okay.
Dark Magician +1 Chaos or Black Luster Soldier Ritual Monster.
Thank you. That's it.
Wait, hold on. Sorry, let me just read the first sentence. If this card is fusion summoned, you can target one light or a dark monster in your graveyard.
Yeah.
Special summon it.
Thank you, Chris Edward. It is indeed Master of Chaos. Yeah, that's the boy. Yeah, so that's a key one. I guess he does look a little different than the art on Piercing the Darkness. Wasted effect, because those are both Battle of Chaos. But yeah, like, That guy's out. He's printed. I don't know if he's printed in Master Duel yet.
Oh, okay.
Can I check? Oh, yes. No, it should list if he's released. So yeah, I don't think he is not yet printed. Was this a Kaz art? It's not signed.
No, I was just remembering that card as being like a card that's just not out in my mind.
No, it's real, but a lot of people don't remember Battle of Chaos. It was a really weird set early last year. It's about a year old.
It was
But
kind
yeah.
of a weird set.
Like, Dark Magician's thing as just... Dark Magician has been infinitely more successful at just fusing with all of Yugi's old cards.
Which I feel works better.
Cavalry.
Yeah,
The
Cavalry.
problem is, unlike Joey's archetypes, where they don't actually exist, they're just pretend things that don't work.
Well, yeah, that's
Yugi
the
actually has things that
thing.
work.
Because of Yugi favoritism, Chaos, as in, like, BLS, is an archetype. Buster Blader is an archetype. Gaia is an archetype. The only
Gaia is
thing,
an
Magnet Warriors are an archetype. The only thing we haven't gotten is, like, weird
Flame
shit like
Swordsman archetype?
Feral Imp. Hey, don't joke. I'm with a lot of
no,
people that,
listen.
like, I'm so
No.
worried
Okay, listen.
that
Let me-
Flame
let
Swordsman's
me-
going to be
I'll-
real in
Listen, I was
Realistic
going to say,
Explosion.
like, I'm not against it, but it doesn't seem like a good idea. But
It
I
would-
feel like that's what's going to happen.
It would not
As one
advance
of
the
them.
game state of Red Eyes unless they made it do that. But, I mean, I guess Red Eyes have also always been kind of all over the place in terms of
Red Eyes also,
attribute.
like, always
Most of
dark
them are
and-
dark,
like,
but
it's like
some
dark
of
and
them
fire.
are like wind. I don't
some
know if
wind,
they
some wind
actually have
too.
any fire. Joey has a lot of fire monsters and wind monsters.
Marth makes a great point. More land star support.
That'd be pretty hilarious.
Honestly, that would be fun
There are
if
like
like,
3
they actually
Celtic
made a whole
Guardians,
thing.
you could make that work. Oh, actually, by the way, that reminds me talking about this is another thing that, like, if you want to do some extra Harpie support and synergy, you guys they made a fusion retrain of Time Wizard, the Time Wizard of Tomorrow. Do like a not like old Harpie old lady, that'd be funny and be too silly, but like
Harpie Crone.
yeah, Crow. You could do some jokes there, and you could do that as the synergy. Make it like a spellcaster plus a Harpie monster or something. Like you could
Make it
harken
contact
to
fusion.
those effects that go there. Because like Thousand Dragon is involved in that matchup. The Harpie ladies got blasted by Time Wizard and shit like that. So Silent is an archetype. There are retrains of Silent Swordsman and Silent Magician that are out there,
Yeah, they do
Yeah.
exist.
Yeah.
along with the
They
level
just-
versions.
They just weren't released so well. Oh,
No.
and also don't forget the kid,
Yeah.
Silent Talent.
Yeah, they've got some Silent as an archetype stuff. There's also this funny Chronicle cards that are kind of like that Blue Eyes and Dark Magician crossover that's funny.
A deck I wish I could have run in our Prog series, however, no one got any of the fucking cards.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, no.
I'm pretty
So,
sure
yeah, I
all
mean,
of the silent cards were high rarity.
Yeah, and I think they were limited to side sets. But yeah, so like, again, Dark Magician's not really making any waves, though. Like Blue Eyes, I do see it every fucking like special festival in Master Duel. Dark Magician
But
players are slightly less paste-eating than Blue Eyes players because most of them, in addition to playing
It
the Dark
requires a
Magician
combo.
field spell, they also play Village of the Spellcasters, so they will just lock you.
Oh,
And
really? I have
also,
not-
I'm going to be real with you, Dark Magical Circle, better than most Blue Eyes cards.
Sorry, hold on. You've been Village of the Spellcasters. Every Dark Magician player I've seen under the sun will always get Eternal Soul, and will never protect it.
No, that's what I mean. They're only slightly less pace eater. Because let's be real, Eternal Soul is literally the original True Light. So all of the mistakes you see Blue Eyes players make with True Light, Dark Magician players did first. And like that's another thing, by the way, to talk about Red Eyes. They still don't have a field spell, and field spells can be literally anything. The Dark Magician field spell is, what is that? That's not navigation. It's Magician something. It's real silly.
I don't remember.
We talked about all of the Dark Magician stuff, and I still don't remember.
That was
Yeah.
a while ago, man.
It was also a very long stream, and we were kind of doing a thing because we did it because
It was a
Takahashi
commemorative. It was
just
a
died.
it was a
It was a-
commemorative stream.
It was an odd moment. It was a
Yeah.
moment in time. But yeah, like Magician Salvation. Thank you, chat. Yeah, so like you can make field spells anything. Though obviously, I think that the unofficial Red Eyes field spell is Catalyst Field.
Unfortunately.
Well, Catalyst Field is a card that's so silly. It's so broken, but Geminis are so bad. Anyway, we're
Like, I'll
rambling.
say
We've
this
been
to you.
going for like 2.5 hours.
It's forever the curse of how Red Eyes are just seen as the third wheel to most things.
I mean, yeah. They did finally print Dark Dragon Nail after like literally 20 years. And who knows? This is an anniversary year. This is the 20th or no 25th, I think. Or is it the 20th?
Yeah.
I think it's the 20th anniversary.
I think it's 25th.
I think it's the 25th of the manga. But yeah, it's an anniversary year. We're already gonna get that Maze of Memory set. They're gonna retrain and fix Gate Guardian, y'all. I can't wait for the bullshit.
I want to see. I just want to see it.
I mean, I believe that set is in March. It's like we're like 20 minutes from it being February on the East Coast, so we should probably start getting some preview material soon.
It's already February.
Yeah, you're in the future.
Didn't they
I'm in the
already
past.
say they were making it a fusion or something?
I think they suggested that it would be a contact fusion. They haven't shown it, so there's still some wiggliness there. But yeah, like, and I believe we can see from some of the key art in the, like, they showed off the promo art, there will probably be retrains of, like, Wall Shadow and shit in there. So I'm expecting, like, the whole cadre, like, Labyrinth Wall, Labyrinth Tank, Dungeon Worm, shit like that. There will be a whole archetype built around this.
Paradox.
Yeah, you can play the Makyu brothers.
Deck.
Which also does tie in because the Paradox brothers are they had a mini box set for Speed Duel last year, which I
It
believe
was
is
not
popular.
bad. It was not terrible.
In general, guys, like I don't recommend it to everybody because it is kind of a different feel. But if you're down for it, Speed Duel is good.
I feel like skill cards go off.
Didn't Omega and I try Speed Duel against each other, and it was like an awful wreck of a...
I think that's just because we were playing weird shit. Like I tried to make Moth work because there are certain people in our Yu-Gi-Oh community who don't like Perfectly Ultimate Great Moth for some reason and think he's really, really bad. And for a while, Ultimate Moth was fucking meta in Speed Duel, so I wanted to prove them wrong. There are actually good Speed Duel builds you can do, and like there's a lot of good stuff going on.
I want to say the thing of how I feel like skill cards are actually what help, I think, define Yu-Gi-Oh! Where it's like if they just had skill cards from like the early on instead of like having to escalate power. Like,
oh yeah,
power
no.
cards,
Like
I
this
feel
is
like
one
it
of
works
those.
better because you could just do anime shit like once or twice per duel.
This is one of those things that like it worked for Duel Links and it works for Speed Duels, which is just paper Duel Links basically, because it like lets you key off specific cards in the smaller card pool and stuff and work really well. It's made shit that absolutely should not be relevant very relevant. Ultimate Moth was relevant. Fucking Serpent Night Dragon was a busted ass deck for a while because it had a specific skill. There are skill cards for Harpies. There's two. There's one to play Harpies and there's one to play Harpies plus Amazoness.
Where would I put it? Skill cards are like reminiscent of why I like certain other card games. Of like when I think of like Runeterra or like when I used to play Hearthstone. Like
I mean,
8
honestly,
years ago, where it's like your class, like what your character you've had actually had identity that provided points to what
I
you
mean,
played.
I think the way modern Yu-Gi-Oh works and even Rush Duel works is when you play archetype or themed decks, they give you identity as well. But when you have a smaller card pool like Speed Duels, it helps. And it's just, honestly, I can say this. I don't think Chad will disagree with me. The skills system from Speed Duel and from Duel Links is just the Deckmaster format, but good. It's what you want out of the Deckmaster concept, but better. Like
Yes,
it by giving
because
you
you're
special
not-
synergy.
Because you're not summoning some busted ass floodgate monster.
What are you
Like, you don't
talking
even have
about?
to
My
summon Last Warrior from the
Master
final planet.
Last Warrior from another planet is clearly not broken.
Yeah, you don't even
Because
have
no
to
one- no
summon
one
it.
plays
Is the
the game.
problem. Literally cannot out this board. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. I see that there are quite a few of you, I suspect because of the Harpie connection. We made it through relatively easily. I will have to run up another patron poll, so consider supporting us on Patreon to get access to our next one. That'll probably go up in a couple of days. I will have to wrestle Dallas probably after the Final Fantasy stream tomorrow to get into that. So there's lots of fun stuff there. But other than that, we'll be continuing down our solo mode train next week. Whomst is next? I think it was. Let's see. We
And
did
then I have some
Weather.
good
We did
news.
Lightstorm. We did Heralds. We went ahead to Danger. 6 Sams. Excellent.
Nuts.
That'll be quite a hefty episode with multiple eras and phases. Another long-running fan favorite archetype that actually has been an archetype for a long-ass time. And after that, I get to do a personal favorite, and we get to talk about Nephthys. If we haven't already talked about that, I don't think we have.
I don't think we have.
Marth can
No,
fact
'cause
check
I
me
don't.
on
I
that
don't
one.
think we ever talked about a lot of like the non-main one Nemesis card.
So
'Cause
anyway,
I don't. Yeah.
if I may borrow the stream for just a second. This week I am only here because freak weather caused everyone to go home early from my work. Not next week, but the week after, I actually had like 72 hours of vacation time I had to burn this year. So I'm taking like almost 2 weeks off at the end of February.
Nice.
So I will be able to join for a couple more episodes. Not due to freak weather, but due to actually having Tuesdays off for a couple weeks.
Yay.
And to do our usual wrap up here, I would love if you're watching this stream or watched it before, go ahead and give it a like, sub to the channel for more of this. You know, ring the bell so you can see when we're streaming. Join our Discord, fun stuff like that. Also, you know, hey, it is almost February. I haven't really made a big deal of it, but we're a little under the payment level for YouTube monthly for January to actually make that revenue, as in to actually put it in my pocket. So if you got any YouTube memberships or super chats you want to throw out there, obviously, sadly, there was no Dallas for you to pay money to yell at this week. But, you know, if you got like 15 minutes before that stops counting, so if you want to get in some last-minute joins, click them now. I do see
I mean, to
quite
go with the bit,
a
I'm still
small amount
here,
of
but
minimals.
I guess no one's angry at me.
I don't know. I don't
People
think
don't
it
usually
said
pay
anything.
money to yell at you, Axe. I don't know why.
I guess I'm
yeah.
not that worth it.
I think
Oh,
because
because we yell at you enough.
Also,
I guess
don't
everyone
think
feels
Axe
pity.
I don't think Axe has controversial enough opinions to really yell at.
It's more just like that we don't like the way Axe phrases some things right now. Hey,
Yeah.
Architect, thank you for the membership.
And
It's appreciated, the effort.
You know, Dallas will go out of his way to
Dallas will go out of his way to
contrarian
state
opinions.
unpopular opinion, but
Yeah.
hot dogs are sandwiches. I don't
What are
remember
you
if he's a hot
talking
dog truther.
And coffee is just bean soup.
Technically correct.
Yeah, that's that. I don't think you can really argue that one about that. It just has a very different consistency from most soups. Anyway, yes, join, get your shit, membership badges, emotes, everything. It's a fun time. Thanks for your support, everybody. We'll be seeing you next week for that 6 a.m. episode, and I think that's everything I got. So I'm gonna say good night, everyone.
Bye.
Night. Wait a second. I think that would make it a broth, not a soup.